I blinked my eyes open and immediately knew something was very, very wrong. There I was, standing in the middle of a crowd of soldiers, wearing full armor and holding a big sword like some background extra in a historical drama. Last thing I remember, I was pulling my third all-nighter at work and passed out at my desk. Now I'm cosplaying as a medieval grunt. Then memories hit me like a truck. Turns out I transmigrated from modern Earth straight into the Great Zhou dynasty, a world where martial arts is king, sects are everywhere, and the empire is falling apart from the inside and outside at the same time. And where did I land? Not as some prince, not as a young master, not even as a rich merchant's kid. Nope, I'm a convict-turned-soldier at Yin Pass, the most desolate outpost on the northern border, a bottom-rank private nobody with less than 6 months of service. Beautiful, just beautiful. Meanwhile, some commander up on the stage was giving us the news. Our scouts captured a bunch of supplies and rescued several hundred women from the northern barbarians. All unmarried soldiers could pick a wife. Oh, and also, we're fighting a major battle in 1 month, and they'd really appreciate it if we could leave behind some offspring before we die. How romantic. The picking order went by rank. Officers first, then down to trash-tier soldiers like me. By the time it's my turn, I figured I'd be choosing between a rock and a hard place. My direct boss, 100-man Commander Wang Eru, big guy, nasty temper, nobody dares breathe wrong around him, stomped up on stage first. He stopped right in front of a woman wearing a veiled hat that hid her face. Great body, though. Like, seriously great. Skin like jade, waist you could wrap one hand around. Take off the hat, sweetheart, Wang Eru ordered. She stepped back and shook her head. Wrong move. Wang Eru stomped his foot so hard the whole stage shook. She stumbled, and he ripped her hat right off. The face underneath? Absolutely devastating. Drop-dead gorgeous. The kind of face that launches movie careers. But then everyone recoiled like she was radioactive. Turns out she had heterochromia, one brown eye, one blue eye. In this world, that's basically a curse mark. Bad omen. Unlucky. Wang Eru literally spat on the ground and walked away. Every single guy after him avoided her like she carried the plague. The soldiers around me were cracking jokes about who'd be brave enough to take her. Nobody volunteered. I watched this whole circus play out and honestly could not believe my luck. Back on Earth, heterochromia is cool. People pay money for colored contacts to fake it. And these idiots are passing on the most beautiful woman in the lineup because of eye color superstition? Fine by me. You don't want her? Then don't mind if I do. I was the very last guy to walk up on that stage. Didn't hesitate for even 1 second. Walked straight up to the crying beauty and said 3 words. Come with me. Hikawe looked at me like I'd just grown a second head. You're not afraid I'll bring you bad luck? She whispered, eyes all red and puffy from crying. Lady, I'm a transmigrator from the future. The only thing I'm afraid of is dying alone in this dump. Not afraid. I know I have to take you home today. She stared into my eyes for a moment, then grabbed my hand tight, like she was holding onto a lifeline. The crowd absolutely lost it. Has Lin Feng lost his mind? Bro, she's gonna curse you to death. R.I.P. brother, we barely knew you. I just grinned at all of them. I was born with a hard life. Takes more than pretty eyes to kill me. We signed the official marriage certificate at the government office, paid 10 copper coins for the registration fee, and boom, married. That's it. No ceremony, no banquet, no photographer. 10 coins and a signature. Cheapest wedding in history. And that's when it happened. Ding. A real man stands between heaven and earth with no fear. Ultimate slaughter system, binding successful. Kill to grow stronger. I nearly screamed out loud. The system showed my stats and, yeah, they were embarrassing. Combat power, so low the system literally couldn't even detect it. Talent level, rock bottom. Body constitution, mortal flesh. Martial techniques, 0. Basically a walking punching bag. But then, the starter gift pack dropped. 1 cubic meter of personal storage space. A badass saber technique called Slaughter Heaven Saber Art. And 100,000 slaughter points to spend on upgrades. Beautiful wife and a cheat system, both in the same day. I wanted to run laps around the parade ground screaming in joy, but I kept my cool. Barely. Don't spend the points yet, I told the system. Wait for my command. Meanwhile, the commander announced that all newlyweds get 5 days off. 5 whole days of vacation before heading back to military duty. Missed the deadline, and it's martial law punishment. Let's go home, wifey. I grabbed Saiwei's hand and started walking. She stopped to pick up her veiled hat from the ground, about to put it back on. Nope, not on my watch. My wife has nothing to hide. I snatched that hat and launched it into the sky like a frisbee. The look on her face, like a weight just lifted off her chest. Worth it. What I didn't notice was Wang Eru watching us from around a corner, scratching his chin with that greedy look in his eyes. Song Chun, he said to his rat-faced lackey, "You think this cursed eyes thing is actually real?" This weasel Song Chun immediately read his boss's mind. Even if it was real, boss, the curse already transferred to Lin Feng when he married her. Want me to grab a couple guys tonight and bring her to your place? Wang Eru put on his serious face. Grab? What are you talking about? We don't grab people. We invite them. You tell Lin Feng that his 100-man commander would like to invite his wife over for a very important discussion. Got it. Haha. Crystal clear, boss. Leave it to me. Song Chun took a bag of silver and scurried off with 2 goons. That monkey-faced little creep was already planning something nasty. Meanwhile, I was blissfully unaware of any of this. Walking down the street with my new wife, people whispered and pointed at us the whole way. Kaiwei kept her head lower and lower. I stopped and looked her dead in the eyes. Ignore them. They're all just jealous I married the prettiest girl in town. I know you're a good person. That's why I'm worried. Worried about what? That your eyes are going to zap me with bad luck? I punched the air a couple times. See? Still alive. Still kicking. Then I held up 3 fingers and started a dramatic oath. I, Lin Feng, swear to the heavens that I will treat He Kaiwei well for the rest of my life. And if I break this vow, may lightning strike me. She slapped her hand over my mouth before I could finish. Then immediately yanked it back, face turning red as a tomato, realizing she'd just touched a man's lips on the first date. Well, first marriage. She looked like a startled deer, and honestly, it was the most adorable thing I'd ever seen. Thank you, she said quietly. We're family now. No more thank yous allowed. That's a rule, wifey. Her cheeks went from tomato to full-on fire engine red at the word, wifey. She stared at my face in the sunset glow and kind of zoned out for a second. Eventually we made it to my place. 3 thatched huts in a small courtyard, 1 bedroom, 1 kitchen, 1 outhouse, plus a stable with 1 elderly horse chewing hay like he'd given up on life years ago, and a vegetable garden, because apparently the previous owner of this body was the kind of guy who grew his own tomatoes between shifts of being military cannon fodder. Welcome home, wifey. It's not much, but it's ours. Sorry it's a bit humble. Kaiwei shook her head fast. I don't mind at all. After everything I've been through lately, this place is wonderful. Then she rolled up her sleeves. Husband, you must be hungry. Let me cook. Before I could even say, no, let me help, she literally shoved me out of the kitchen. What kind of wife lets her husband cook? Go rest. Well, all right then. Can't argue with that energy. Besides, I had something way more important to take care of. I headed for the hills behind our house. Time to figure out this system. After messing around with the interface for a bit, I finally understood how the point system worked. I had 100,000 slaughter points to distribute across combat power, talent, body constitution, and martial technique proficiency. 1 month until the battlefield. My current combat power was so pathetic the system couldn't even measure it. Not great. System, put 1,000 points into combat power. Ding. Combat power upgraded to first rank warrior. Power flooded into my body. Every muscle, every bone, every cell, buzzing with strength. Only 1,000 points, and I'm already a first-rank warrior? If I dump all 100,000 in, I'll be invincible. The system immediately crushed my dreams. System reminder, 100,000 points would only raise you to 4th-rank warrior. Balanced point distribution recommended. Cold water, meet my face. For reference, the martial ranks go from 1st to 9th-rank warrior, then Grandmaster, Great Grandmaster, Martial King, Martial Emperor, and finally Land Immortal. The general commanding all of Yin Pass, the big boss Pan Feng himself, is only a 6th-rank warrior. So getting to 4th rank off the starter pack alone isn't actually bad. But the road ahead is long. I thought it over and spent 60,000 points to push my combat power up to 3rd-rank warrior, same level as Wang Eru. That should keep me alive on the battlefield at least. The remaining points I split evenly between talent, body constitution, and technique proficiency. Final stats, 3rd-rank warrior. Yellow grade talent. Iron Bone Constitution. Slaughter Heaven Saber Art at beginner level. Slaughter points remaining, a fat 0. Time to test this out. I pulled my saber, channeled my energy, and swung at a tree so thick 2 people couldn't wrap their arms around it. One clean slash. The tree split and crashed down. The cut on the stump was smooth as a mirror. I stared at the fallen tree with the biggest grin on my face. This is a world where the strong rule, and I've got a system that literally rewards killing. Lin Feng is going to be written into the history books. In bold, I practiced my saber technique for another half hour, then headed home. And oh man, did I come home to a surprise. Kaiwei had set up a little feast on the stone table in the yard. A pot of rice porridge and 2 plates of perfectly arranged side dishes. This girl used to be from a noble family, and it showed. Everything looked restaurant quality. Husband. Perfect timing. Wash up and eat. First spoonful of porridge, and I nearly ascended to heaven. Rich, fragrant, smooth. A bite of the stir-fried vegetables, and I wanted to cry. After who knows how long of eating military slop, this was paradise. Is the food okay? Kaiwei asked, her voice small and nervous. Okay, I need 3 more bowls. She let out a quiet breath of relief and started nibbling her own porridge like a little hamster. Then a strand of hair fell across her forehead. She reached to fix it, but my hand got there first, gently tucking it behind her ear. Our eyes met. Her face turned pink, then red, then dangerously red. She slowly closed her eyes, her breathing getting heavier. Those lips were right there, and I was absolutely not going to miss this moment. Well. Lin Feng, you're really going at it right out in the open. Huh? Are you kidding me right now? 3 guys had walked into my courtyard. Big dudes in civilian clothes, but clearly soldiers. Kaiwei yelped and hid behind me. Go inside, wifey. I'll handle this. She gave me one worried look, then hurried into the bedroom. TSK. That little lady sure walks nice. No wonder you snatched her up. Die under a peony flower. And even as a ghost you'll be handsome. Am I right? Come on, Lin Feng. We're all brothers in the army. When you've got something good, you gotta share. You had your fun. Let us have a turn. The ringleader was Song Chun, Wang Eru's rat-faced little toady. So the boss sent his errand boy. How predictable. I looked at Song Chun and smiled. The kind of smile that makes smart people nervous. Song Chun, I definitely won't be sharing my wife with anyone. But speaking of sharing, you've been under Wang Eru's protection for a long time now. Your wife must have worked really hard behind the scenes to earn that kind of loyalty, huh? Dead silence. Everyone in the army knew Song Chun's wife had been warming Wang Eru's bed. It was the worst-kept secret at Yin Pass. But nobody had ever dared say it to his face, because nobody wanted to mess with Wang Eru. Until today, when the lowest-ranking private in the entire garrison just spit it right in his face like it was nothing. Low damage. Maximum humiliation. The 2 goons next to Song Chun stared at me with their jaws hanging open. This guy really is crazy. Song Chun's face went from pale to purple. He ripped his saber from his belt. I'll kill you, and charged straight at me. Song Chun's saber came swinging at my head. I dodged it clean, not even close, and buried my fist in his gut so hard he folded up like a shrimp. Before he could even wheeze, I snatched the saber right out of his hand and blocked a strike from the second guy. One kick sent that one tumbling to the dirt. The third guy? He just stood there watching me like a deer in headlights. Here's the thing. All 3 of these clowns were Class A soldiers, second-rank warriors. Way above a bottom-tier private like me. If I hadn't gotten the system today and pumped myself up to 3rd rank, tonight would have ended very differently. Either I'd be dead, or worse. Talk, I said, staring down at Song Chun. Why are you here tonight? Tell me the truth, or I'll send all 3 of you straight to hell. Song Chun hesitated. Didn't want to rat out his boss. Wrong choice. I stepped on his shin. Crack. Bone snapped like a twig. His scream could have woken up the entire garrison. I'll talk. It was Commander Wang. He wants your woman. He told me to bring her to his house before you 2 could. You know, I smiled. Cold. Just like I thought. What he does with other people's wives is his business. But the second he set his eyes on my wife, he signed his own death warrant. I stomped on Song Chun's other leg. Another crack. His face went white as paper. Through the agony, he managed to croak. That power. You're at least a 3rd-rank warrior. How? You were just a nobody private. Have you been hiding your strength this whole time? Does it matter? Dead men don't need answers. You wouldn't dare, Song Chun screamed. I'm Commander Wang's right-hand man. He sent me here himself. If you kill me, he'll tear you apart. He'll grind your bones to dust. I already told you. He wants my wife, so he's a dead man walking too. And you? You're just his dog. Song Chun's tough guy act crumbled instantly. He went full blubbering mode. Sir, Master Lin, I was wrong. Please spare me. We're comrades. We'll be fighting side by side on the battlefield. I leaned in close, pressing the flat of the cold blade against his greasy cheek. This is how you treat your comrades? A man like you staying alive would be an insult to heaven itself. One flash of steel. Blood sprayed from his neck. Ding. Congratulations. Killed a second-rank warrior. Slaughter points 200. 200 points? For a Class A soldier? This system is stingier than my old landlord back on Earth. The other two saw Song Chun drop and immediately bolted. I exploded forward, third-rank speed fully unleashed. Caught the first runner with a punch to the back of the head. Lights out. Permanently. Threw the saber at the second one like a javelin. It spun through the air, caught the moonlight for one beautiful second, and buried itself in his back. Down he went. Ding. Killed second-rank warriors. Slaughter points 400. Kai Wei peeked out from behind the door frame. Terrified, she was about to see my corpse. It's okay, wifey. As long as your husband's here, nothing bad will happen. I wiped the blood off my hands with Song Chun's clothes. Seemed fitting. She knew the rules. She'd seen us at the selection ceremony. Those three were Class A soldiers, way stronger than a private like me should be. And yet here they were, dead at my feet. Her husband clearly wasn't what he appeared to be. She pushed down her shock and rushed over, grabbing my blood-stained hands. Husband, 3 soldiers going missing isn't a small thing. If someone finds out, she bit her lip. If it comes to that, I'll face it with you. Life or death, I smiled easy. Relax. They came in disguise, in the dark, to a remote part of town. Nobody saw them. And who's going to suspect the weakest private in the whole garrison of killing 3 Class A soldiers? Nobody. That's who. She nodded, but didn't let go of my hand. After calming her down, I hauled 3 bodies up the mountain, dug a deep pit, buried them, smoothed the dirt, covered it with brush. The distant howl of some beast in the darkness made the whole scene extra creepy, but hey, free ambience. Meanwhile, across town at Wang Eru's fancy compound, with its decorative rocks and fish pond and multiple courtyards, making my 3-hut shack look like a cardboard box. The big man himself was sitting at his table, drinking hard liquor, humming dirty songs, and thinking about my wife. He'd already broken in, the pretty girl he picked today. She was lying on the bed behind him looking like she'd been through a war, because Wang Eru was clearly not the gentle type. But was he satisfied? Of course not. The image of Kai Wei kept popping into his head, and certain fires kept reigniting. Buddy, keep dreaming. Your errand boy is currently 6 feet under, and you're next on my list. Meanwhile, at Wang Eru's mansion, the big man was getting impatient. He was sitting there fantasizing about having Kai Wei and the girl he picked today at the same time, getting all hot and bothered, and that rat Song Chun still hadn't shown up with the goods. Where the hell did Song Chun go? He barked. He sent a guard to check Song Chun's house. Wife didn't know where he was either, so Wang Eru sent the guard to MY house next. Perfect timing. I had literally just finished cleaning up the blood in the courtyard. Lin Feng, you in there? The guard barged in without waiting for an answer. Real polite. Kai Wei went pale. I patted her head gently. Don't worry, wifey. I got this. The guard asked if I'd seen Song Chun tonight. Apparently Wang Eru wanted to know why his errand boy was taking so long. Real smooth. Buddy, you just told me exactly who sent those 3 goons. I put on my dumbest, most harmless face. Song Chun? Nah, we don't really talk much. Why would he come to my place? The guard glanced at me. Scrawny private nobody. Then peeked past the curtain and caught a glimpse of Tsai Wei's blue eye. He flinched backward like he'd seen a ghost. Right? Well, just a routine check. Carry on. He practically sprinted out of my house, probably worried the bad luck would rub off on him. As for suspecting me, please. In his mind, I was a bottom-rank weakling who couldn't fight his way out of a paper bag. Song Chun could snap me in half. The idea that I killed 3 Class A soldiers was about as believable as a chicken killing 3 wolves. Back at Wang Eru's place, the guard reported that Song Chun was nowhere to be found. Wang Eru sat there squeezing his iron stress balls, clicking them together, trying to think. Where did that idiot go? And he took 2 guys with him? Don't tell me they deserted right before a major battle. Now that got his attention. 3 deserters under his command right before a big fight? That's a disaster for his career. He'd been eyeing a promotion to 1,000-man commander, and this could blow the whole thing. Just like that, Kaiwei vanished from his mind completely. Power and promotion trumped lust. At least for now. Keep looking. He slammed the iron balls into the wooden table so hard they embedded into the wood. Good. Stay busy chasing ghosts, big guy. After the guard left, I stood at my gate, taking stock. First time killing people. First time burying bodies. I expected to feel sick, or shaky, or at least a little disturbed. Nothing. I felt absolutely nothing. Am I naturally built for this? I muttered to myself. Either the system did something to my nerves, or I was always a psychopath and just never had the chance to find out. Comforting thought. I went back inside. Kaiwei had fallen asleep in the bed, completely passed out from exhaustion. After days of being kidnapped by barbarians, rescued by soldiers, rejected by everyone, and then watching her new husband murder 3 men on their wedding night. Yeah, I'd be tired too. She looked peaceful though, curled up in her white dress, long eyelashes trembling slightly, skin glowing like porcelain in the moonlight. My throat went dry. Look, I'm a healthy young man who just legally married the most beautiful woman in the garrison. She was right there, in my bed. My name was on the marriage certificate and everything. But no, she was exhausted, she'd been through hell, and I wasn't going to be that guy. At the very least, I needed her to be awake and willing. That's just basic human decency. Wang Eru might be an animal, but I refused to sink to his level. I sighed, grabbed a spare blanket from the cabinet, and laid it out on the cold stone floor. Got a wife, and I'm still sleeping alone. The universe really loves testing me. I passed out in about 30 seconds flat. It had been one hell of a day. Next morning, Kaiwei woke up first. After a full night's sleep, she looked completely different. Color in her cheeks, light in her eyes, like a wilted flower coming back to life. She opened the bedroom door, ready to start on chores, and found me sprawled on the floor like a dog. This silly man. He could have just slept in the bed with me. She stood there watching me sleep with this soft little smile on her face, and apparently something warm stirred in her chest. Yeah well, chivalry costs, lady. My back was killing me. Apparently, I sleep like a tornado. Rolling around, kicking blankets off, the whole circus. Kaiwei found me half uncovered on the floor and was gently pulling the blanket back over me when I cracked my eyes open. And there she was. That face. Inches away. Like waking up inside a painting. Wifey, she froze. I froze. The wind outside literally stopped blowing. We just stared at each other for what felt like an hour. Husband's awake too, she said, blinking at me all cute and playful. Not just awake. I'm feeling a sudden urge to bully my wife a little. Before she could react, I sat up and planted a quick kiss right on her lips. Light as a dragonfly touching water. Her face went nuclear red. Brain completely short-circuited. I could practically hear the dial-up internet sounds in her head. One thing led to another, and somehow we ended up tangled together in the blankets. But when my hand started wandering, she grabbed it. Husband. Not during the day. What if someone comes? Maybe. Tonight. Her voice was barely a whisper. She pressed her face against my chest, and I could feel her burning cheeks through my skin. And you know what? The fire in me actually cooled down. She was being so vulnerable and trusting. I'd rather respect that than rush things. We held each other for a long time. Just that. Nothing more. Husband doesn't need to rush, she murmured, clinging to my arm like a little girl. I'm yours. Today, and for the rest of my life. Well, yeah, that's exactly why I need to eat you up quick before someone steals you away, I said, grinning like an idiot. She swatted at me. You're such a smooth talker. I bet you've said these things to lots of girls. You're not a good man. But she was smiling the whole time as she trotted over to the kitchen. We made breakfast together. Her cooking, me chopping vegetables like the world's most overqualified sous chef. Rice porridge and simple dishes again. Honestly, I could eat this every day for the rest of my life. Husband, do you think that guard from last night suspects you? She asked between bites. Relax. Everyone in the military thinks I'm a useless weakling. Nobody would ever suspect me. She puffed her cheeks out. You are not useless. You're the strongest person in the whole world. I mean, technically not yet. But I appreciate the energy. After breakfast, I cleaned the house up proper. When it was just me, I lived like a raccoon and didn't care. But now there was a lady of the house, so standards had to rise. Husband, we need to buy some things in town, Kaiwei said. I hitched up the old horse to the cart, and while Kaiwei got ready, I chatted with the neighbors like I always did. Had to keep up appearances, same old harmless, friendly Lin Feng. Auntie Zhang, beating the kids again? It's not even raining yet. Brother Zhang, with the battle coming up, you should stockpile your hunted game instead of selling it in town. Not like you're getting rich off it anyway. They gave me the usual responses, just survive the battle first, kid. And, heard you boys got wives yesterday, settling down. Is good for a young man. Then Kaiwei stepped out, and I introduced her to everyone. She smiled and greeted each person so sweetly it made me look like a king. For about 5 seconds, they were impressed. Lin Feng, you lucky dog. What a gorgeous wife. Then somebody noticed the blue eye. The temperature dropped faster than a rock off a cliff. Smiles vanished. People went quiet. The friendlier neighbors tried to warn me. Lin Feng, did someone trick you? That's heterochromia. When she curses you dead, don't say we didn't warn you. Brother Zhang, come on. If people with different colored eyes were really deadly, wouldn't the emperor have done something about it? Wouldn't our own commander have issued orders? You think they'd just let a walking disaster stroll around killing everyone? Nobody had a good answer for that, but nobody changed their mind either. One by one, they all shuffled back inside their houses. Awkward silence. I glanced at Kaiwei, feeling bad for putting her through that. But she just smiled bright as sunshine and grabbed my hand. Let's go, husband, not even fazed. This girl was tougher than she looked. I made a silent promise right then. Once I climbed the ranks, 100-man commander, 1,000-man commander, whatever it takes, we're moving out of this thatched roof dump. My wife deserves a mansion with multiple courtyards and a proper garden. Period. I grabbed the reins and drove us toward town. What I didn't notice was a sneaky shadow lurking at the courtyard gate the moment we left. Back at my place, that same guard from last night had snuck in the moment we left. Wang Eru sent him to search my house, because apparently the boss was getting desperate trying to find his missing lackeys. The guard tossed the whole place and found nothing. Reported back to Wang Eru. Turned the whole shack upside down, sir. Nothing suspicious. Bed was a bit messy, though. Lucky kid, getting to sleep with a beauty like that before going to war. Get out, Wang Eru snapped. He'd searched everywhere he could think of. Sending someone to my house was a last resort, a shot in the dark. And it came up empty. I must be losing my mind, he grumbled. Lin Feng? That nobody? What was I thinking? Good. Keep thinking that, big guy. Meanwhile, Kaiwei and I were heading to Fengshui County, about 10 miles out from Yin Pass. Our little garrison town was too small for proper shopping, so everyone went to the county seat for supplies. Kaiwei put her veiled hat back on before we went out. She didn't want the heterochromia thing causing problems while we were trying to buy groceries. It's fine, husband. I don't mind the hat. Having you is more than enough for me. She squeezed my hand and smiled like she meant every word. This woman was going to be the death of me. In a good way. Shopping with Kaiwei was an education. I'm a guy. I could live on salt and whatever meat I could find, and call it a life. She had a whole list. Cooking oil, salt, soy sauce, vinegar, toothpaste, salt, bathing supplies. Things I didn't even know I needed. The market was extra busy today. With the big battle coming, every merchant was trying to squeeze out as much profit as possible, so prices were actually decent. Then Kaiwei stopped in front of a little stall selling calligraphy supplies. A wolf hairbrush, some slightly damaged paper, an ink stone, and bottled ink. Her eyes lit up in a way I hadn't seen before. That's when it clicked. The refined manners, the elegant speech, the cooking skills that were way too good for a commoner. She had to be from a noble or scholarly family. Probably got tangled up in some political mess and ended up here. Want it? We can afford it, I said. She stared at the set for a long moment, then firmly shook her head and dragged me away. And then came the lecture. There's still so many things the house needs. That brush is 30% above market price. And that paper has a chipped corner. They shouldn't even be charging full price. These merchants are all crooks. And husband, you can't spoil me like this. That money could feed us for half a month, or buy meat for several days. You're training with the army, you need proper nutrition. She went from sweet newlywed to head accountant in about 3 seconds flat. Her eyes were literally glowing with household budget manager energy. Okay, I said, knowing better than to argue. We spent another hour buying everything on her list. Then I told her to wait for me and slipped away. "Husband," she called after me, but I was already gone. When I came back, she saw what was in my hands and her nose immediately started twitching. The chipped paper, the ink stone, the overpriced wolf hair brush. All of it. Her lip started trembling. "Husband, what are you doing? I told you not to buy those. We have so many expenses, but you like them." I leaned down to look into her watery eyes. "Don't worry, wifey. I've been saving my soldiers' pay for almost half a year. This came out of my personal stash, not the household budget." Though I have to admit, I held out my empty palm with a grin, that after buying this, your husband is officially broke. Any chance my dear wife could spot me alone? No, she slapped my palm away, hands on her hips. "Who told you to buy it? Not my problem." But those dimples were showing, and that smile was spreading across her face like sunrise. "Really? Nothing at all." I leaned in closer with my best puppy dog eyes. No, absolutely no. "Husband, stop. That tickles." "It tickles." "Husband, I was wrong. I'm sorry." After our little tickle fight, we packed up and headed for home. But right then, shouting erupted from up the street. "Watch where you're going. Do you know who my young master is? Move." A pampered rich kid came strutting down the road. Fancy fur cap, powdered face, looking like he'd never done a day of work in his life. 5 or 6 servants flanked him, shoving people out of the way. I frowned and pulled Kaiwei close. "No need to start trouble." She tucked her head against my shoulder, staying low. But as this little prince walked past us, a gust of wind caught Kaiwei's veiled hat and lifted it right off her head. It drifted through the air and landed on the ground. The rich kid turned to look, and the moment he saw Kaiwei's face, his eyes went completely blank. Like someone had unplugged his brain and plugged in a screensaver of the most beautiful woman he'd ever seen. Oh great, here we go again. The rich kid's servants spotted Kaiwei's blue eye and immediately tried to drag their young master away. "She's heterochromia. Cursed. You'll die if you get close." But this idiot was apparently the die under a peony flower type. He kicked his own servant aside and strutted right up to us, eyes glued to Kaiwei like I didn't exist. "Pretty lady, you're so beautiful it hurts my heart. Come back to my mansion. I'll give you the finest food, the finest clothes. Make me happy, and I'll give you anything you want." Then he reached his folding fan toward Kaiwei's chin. His fan stopped in midair, because my hand was wrapped around his wrist like a vice. I didn't say a word, just squeezed, twisted, and dislocated his right arm like popping a bottle cap. That got his attention. He finally noticed me. His face twisted between shock and rage, but the scream came before the insult. "H." He stumbled back into his servants, clutching his floppy arm. "What are you waiting for? Beat him to death." 3 or 4 guys rushed me at once. I caught the first punch barehanded, flipped the guy over my shoulder. Half his body went numb on impact. The next 2 tried a sneak attack from both sides. 2 punches, 2 bodies on the ground. Done in about 5 seconds. A crowd was gathering. People at the nearby tea stall were craning their necks to watch. What I didn't notice was a certain middle-aged man sitting at that tea stall. Big frame, sharp jaw, calloused hands, wearing all black, radiating the kind of quiet danger that screams, professional killer, or high-ranking military. He was watching me with genuine interest. So young, yet strikes with such decisive force, he murmured to himself. Can't be 20 years old, and already a third-rank warrior. This little county town is full of surprises. Across from him sat a younger guy about my age, Yi Kai, with sharp eyebrows and righteous-looking eyes. Apparently already a 1,000-man commander despite his youth. "General, are you thinking of recruiting him?" Yi Kai asked. The older man nodded without hiding his admiration. "His talent rivals yours. Give me 3 years with him, and he could command an entire military district. Eventually, he might even match me. That's some high praise from a stranger I'd never met. Too bad I was a little busy at the moment." "Useless. All of you are useless," the rich kid screamed at his fallen servants. The crowd had been cheering for me at first. Serves that brat right. Finally, someone stood up to him. This young man even held back. If he'd gone full force, that rich boy would never walk again. But then the whispers changed. "Wait, isn't that the county magistrate's son? Oh no, that's the magistrate's boy? The one nobody in Feng Shui County dares to cross." The crowd went dead quiet. The servants, bruised and groaning, suddenly got brave again. You're dead. You messed with the wrong person. So what if you can fight? This world runs on power, not punches. Get on your knees and kowtow 3 times. Maybe our young master will let you live. They scrambled up, propped their precious young master on a bench someone brought over, and he sat there like a little emperor with a dangling arm. Scared now that you know who I am, he sneered at me, pointing his thumb at the ground. Kneel. 3 kowtows. If I'm feeling generous, maybe I'll spare your pathetic life. Then he turned those disgusting eyes back on Kaiwei. And have your little lady spend 1 night with me. I'll return her tomorrow morning. Consider it my act of mercy. Meanwhile, I noticed one of his servants had quietly slipped away into the crowd, probably running to fetch Daddy's soldiers. This day just keeps getting more interesting. The servants piled on with the threats. Our young master is a saint for giving you a chance. Remember that Wong woman? She refused our young master too. Ended up rolled in a straw mat and dumped in the mass grave. Take the deal or suffer the consequences. I was done listening. My fists were clenched and my mind was already doing the math. Kill this brat. Grab Kaiwei, disappear. I had a system that literally rewarded killing. We could survive anywhere. Run north to the barbarian lands if we had to. It's not like either of us owed this garbage dynasty any loyalty. She'd been chewed up and spit out by this country, and I wasn't even from this world. You want Lin Feng to kneel? Not happening. What's the point of having a cheat system if I'm still going to live like someone's dog? Kaiwei squeezed my hand. Husband, let's just go. Don't bother with someone like him. Before I could answer, the little prince's ears perked up. Leave? After hitting me? Dream on. With a beauty like her, I can find out where you live in 5 minutes. So be a good boy, or things get much worse. Every word out of his mouth made me want to kill him more. I was about 2 seconds from painting this street red. Then a squad of armed men pushed through the crowd. The county sheriff, Zhang Tianlang, had arrived with a whole crew carrying those thick wooden beating sticks. He took one look at the scene and clearly understood what happened. The magistrate's son harassing another man's wife. Again, he sighed internally but surrounded me and Kaiwei anyway. Sheriff Zhang. Perfect timing, the brat shouted. Arrest this guy now. He almost beat me to death. First I want you to break his hands and feet, then cut off his manhood, and then I'm going to take his pretty little wife right in front of... Ha ha ha. Zhang Tianlang waved his hand. Move in. I pulled Kaiwei behind me and scanned for a weapon. The nearest guard had a beating stick that would do nicely. If it came down to it, I'd fight through every last one of them. Just as both sides were about to clash, stop, a booming voice from the tea stall. That middle-aged man in black stood up. One of the sheriff's guards pointed his stick at him. Who the hell are you? Nobody asked for your opinion. Get lost. The man gave him one cold look. Then a white blur shot out from behind him like a human cannonball. The young guy, Yi Kai, kicked that guard so hard he flew 5 meters and crashed in a heap. My blood went cold. That speed, that power, that technique. This Yi Kai kid was a 3rd-rank warrior, same as me. And at his age, that was extremely rare even in the military. Broad daylight and you dare assault county officers? Sheriff Zhang roared. Do you have no respect for the laws of Great Zhou? According to the legal code, he choked mid-sentence. Because Yi Kai had pulled out a black iron token from inside his coat. 2 massive characters were engraved on it. Zhen Bei. The general who guards the north is present. Who dares make trouble? Some of the guards apparently didn't get the memo and charged forward anyway with their sticks raised. Everyone stand down, Zhang Tianlang screamed, nearly blowing out his own vocal cords. The guard stopped, confused but obedient. Zhang Tianlang squinted at the token. He was former military himself. He'd never met the general who guards the north in person, but he sure as hell recognized the token. And the man radiating enough killing intent to flatten this whole street definitely wasn't a fake. Impersonating a 4 regions general was a crime punishable by wiping out your entire extended family. Nobody was stupid enough to try. Forgive me, General. This humble servant had eyes but failed to recognize a mountain. He dropped to his knees instantly. The general who guards the north. One of 4 supreme military commanders protecting the borders of the Great Zhou dynasty. Each one responsible for an entire frontier. Combat power above 9th-rank warrior. A level I couldn't even dream of touching right now. Officially ranked 4th grade in the imperial hierarchy, while Wang Eru's measly 100-man commander position was the very bottom of the totem pole. And this man was casually drinking tea at a roadside stall, 10 feet away from me. Kawe tugged my hand. Husband, it's the general who guards the north. We should be safe now, right? Should be, I said, trying to sound calm while my brain was doing somersaults. I still didn't fully understand why this walking nuclear warhead had stepped in for us, but I wasn't about to complain. The crowd, which had gone silent when they heard County Magistrate's son, was now buzzing with excitement. The general who guards the north outranked every official in this county by about 1,000 levels. The people who'd been too scared to speak up were suddenly looking very hopeful. Even the guys who'd been sitting next to this man at the tea stall, chatting with him like he was just some random traveler. Their jaws were on the floor. That guy was the legendary general? Wang Ming jumped to his feet the moment he heard soldiers in our camp were showing plague symptoms. But something clicked in my brain first. I slapped my thigh so hard it echoed. I know what's going on. Zhao Shanhe was lifting a cup of tea to his lips. I smacked it out of his hand before he could drink. Send the order. Nobody in the entire Yin Pass garrison is allowed to eat or drink anything. Right now, everyone stared at me like I'd gone insane. These soldiers train all day. Telling them no food or water is basically torture. Send the order, I roared. The command spread through the camp in minutes. I grabbed Wang Ming and the others and rushed to one of the eating areas. Sure enough, soldiers lying around pale-faced, lips turning purple, clutching their stomachs. I crouched next to one of them. Brother, when did you start feeling sick? He pointed weakly at a nearby water barrel. Sir, I just drank some water from there. Hadn't even been half an incense stick's time before my guts felt like they were being sliced apart. It wasn't plague. It was poison. Boss, who would dare poison our water? Wang Ming asked, completely baffled. I shook my head. It couldn't have been the individual barrels. Our camps were spread too far apart. Someone sneaking around poisoning each one would have been spotted. They didn't poison our barrels. They poisoned the source, the Yin River itself. The color drained from everyone's faces. That also explained why some of the townspeople were showing the same plague symptoms. The military doctor rushed over in a panic. General, I've never seen poison this potent. Should we send someone to the capital to find a specialist? By the time someone rides to the capital and brings a doctor back, the Northern Barbarian Army will already be flying their flag over Yin Pass. That shut everyone up real fast. I started firing off orders. Deputy Commander Su, we've always used Yin River water, correct? He nodded. Stop all river water immediately. Send teams to draw water from the deep wells inside the city walls. And don't let anyone drink it until you test it on livestock first. Yes, sir. Wang Ming, send riders into town with a public notice. The river is poisoned. No one gets near it. Yes, sir. All 1,000-man commanders, personally lead your healthy soldiers on patrol around the camps. If anyone tries a surprise attack while we're weakened, I want them walking into a wall of steel. Meanwhile, across town at the county office, the enemy was already celebrating. The barbarian commander Jelly was sitting there scheming with that traitor county magistrate Lu Hong. When his spy reported that our garrison had caught on and stopped drinking the river water, Jelly's smug grin faltered a bit. How many of them can still fight? He asked, eyes cold as a snake. At least 1,000, judging by their patrol numbers. 1,000. That was too many. If it had been just 100 or 200, Jelly could have taken our camp single-handedly. He was a 9th-rank warrior after all. But 1,000 battle-hardened Yin Pass soldiers? Even he wasn't that crazy. So he changed tactics. Fine. We bleed them dry. Little by little, he sent 2 of his bodyguards with 50 men each to ambush our water-fetching teams at the eastern and western wells. Then he turned to that spineless sheriff Zhang Tianlang. Yep, same guy who tried to arrest me back in the day, now fully working for the barbarians. You take 50 men and ambush the southern well. Zhang Tianlang nearly swallowed his own tongue. And me? Against Yin Pass soldiers? There's only 8 or 9 of them per team, and you'll have 50 men. What are you scared of? Or is everyone in your office completely useless? Would you rather I go myself? Zhang Tianlang folded immediately. He'd been a traitor from the moment he helped poison the water. There was no going back to the good guy side now. Jilly rallied his little team of turncoats with a motivational speech. There's nothing to fear. The only real threat in Yin Pass was their commander Lin Feng, and he's badly wounded and practically dead. The rest? A pile of loose sand. Once we grind them down, the barbarian main army arrives, and you'll all be rewarded with titles and riches. Lu Hong and Zhang Tianlang dropped to their knees, grinning like idiots. Thank you, General Jelly. Jelly turned toward the window, clenched his fist, and stared north. Soon, Yin Pass will kneel before the iron cavalry of the northern barbarians. Yeah, buddy. Keep dreaming. You haven't met the new and improved Lin Feng yet. I sat alone in the command tent, unwrapping my bandages. Most of my wounds had healed up, just 2 deep cuts still needed time. Not bad for a guy who was supposedly on death's door. But the situation was ugly. Nearly 70% of my soldiers were poisoned. The garrison's fighting strength was basically 0. And the barbarian main army could show up any day now. If I didn't figure something out fast, Yin Pass was finished. System, open the shop. Ding. System shop is open. What would you like to purchase? Got anything that can cure poison? For my entire garrison, ding. Clear wind antidote pill. Dissolve in water. Drink it. Cures all poisons. No way. A miracle drug like that actually exists in this shop? I nearly jumped out of my chair. Then I remembered who I was dealing with. All right, how much? Ding. All your remaining slaughter points, plus an advance of 200,000 points. Saving lives is a noble virtue, especially the lives of your thousands of brothers in arms. This scam artist of a system. Not even the greediest capitalists back on Earth were this shameless. Drain every point I have and put me 200,000 in debt. It literally quoted Buddhist scripture to guilt trip me into going bankrupt. But what choice did I have? My soldiers were dying. I gritted my teeth. Buy it, ding. Purchase successful. Slaughter points, negative 200,000. A tiny green pill the size of a pearl appeared on my desk. I stared at it. This little thing was supposed to save thousands of soldiers? Then a breeze carried its scent to my nose. One whiff and my entire body felt refreshed, like I'd just woken up from the best nap of my life. Okay, fine. It's legit. The system was a loan shark, but it never sold me garbage. I called for Deputy Commander Su Chong. He stumbled in looking like a man who hadn't eaten or drunk anything in a full day. Cracked lips, hollow eyes. Big Brother Su, I've got a solution. I held up the tiny pill. This can cure our entire army. He stared at the pearl-sized pill, then stared at me, then back at the pill. The look on his face said, "You're joking, right? Just dissolve it in water and have everyone drink." Trust me. He took it, clearly unconvinced. But before he could argue, Jiang Yi and Zhao Shanha burst into the tent, covered in blood and dirt. What happened? I demanded. We went to fetch water from the wells, Jiang Yi gasped, clutching a wound on his chest so deep I could see bone. They had ambushes waiting. Barbarian warriors. One of them was a 7th rank. We lost men and came back empty-handed. Zhao Shanha's face was dark as a storm cloud. General, they're trying to kill us through thirst. If we can't get water, the men who aren't poisoned will die of dehydration instead. Then Wang Ming came crashing in, covered in dust. Let me guess, ambush? Jiang Yi asked. Wang Ming nodded, furious. The southern well. That backstabbing dog Zhang Tianlang was waiting with nearly 100 men. If I didn't have to protect our guys on the retreat, I would have ripped his head off. He looked at me with guilt in his eyes. Sorry, big brother. Not your fault. It's mine. I should have anticipated this. Everyone went quiet. Su Chong spoke up first. We can't just sit here and die. I'll lead 30 men to get that water myself. Wang Ming, Jiang Yi, Zhao Shanha, they all volunteered at once, talking over each other. I raised my hand. I'm going. Personally, big brother and your wounds. I cut Wang Ming off. That's exactly why I should go. They think I'm half dead. Nobody will expect the critically wounded commander to show up at their ambush point. We catch them completely off guard. Besides, if you guys go, you'll need to bring a big force, which leaves the camp exposed. I only need 10 cavalry. Wang Ming blinked. Just 10. I grinned. I'm worried if I bring more, they'll run away before I can kill them. Which well are we hitting? He asked. The south one, obviously. The east and west wells have 7th rank warriors guarding them. The south well only has Zhang Tianlang. We picked the soft target and squashed that traitor while we're at it. Wang Ming broke into a huge grin. Sweet revenge. Yes, sir. As he left to round up the cavalry, I let myself smile too. Catch them off guard? Please. The real reason I wanted to go personally was math. I was 200,000 slaughter points in the hole. Every kill counted. Every single one. Come on, Zhang Tianlang. Line up your boys nice and neat for me. Daddy's got debts to pay. County Magistrate Lu Hong glared at me from across the street after his precious son got dragged away by the sheriff. I stared right back. 3 seconds of eye contact. Neither of us blinked. Then he waved his hand dismissively. Nothing happened in Feng Shui County today. Everyone leave. He walked off, swallowing his anger like a bitter pill. With General Yan Nanshan's warning hanging over his head, he couldn't touch me. Not today anyway. But I could tell. This guy was filing this grudge away for later. On the ride home, Kaiwei was being unusually quiet. I could practically hear the gears turning in her head. Let me guess. You're wondering why I turned down the general's offer to join his personal guard? She nodded her little head. If you served beside the general, your career would skyrocket. And more importantly, she paused, you'd be safer. Fighting on the front lines against barbarians. Even if you're strong, there's always someone stronger. I'd worry about you every single day. I squeezed her hand while steering the horse with the other. I appreciate that, wifey. But riding someone else's coattails isn't how you earn real respect. I need to climb the ranks on my own merit, through actual battlefield achievements. That's the only way people will truly follow me. You'll support me, right? She leaned into my chest as the cart bumped along. As long as you come home safe, that's all I'll ever ask for. When we got home and walked through the door, the place looked like a tornado had hit it. Blankets ripped off the bed, cabinets thrown open, chairs and tables knocked over everywhere. Burglars? Kaiwei gasped. I checked everything. Nothing was missing. Not a single coin. Wang Eru. That paranoid meathead had sent someone to search my house while we were out shopping. Looking for clues about his missing lackeys, no doubt. I sprinted outside, scanned the perimeter with my third-rank senses. Nobody lurking around. Then I raced to the burial site on the back mountain. No digging marks. The graves were untouched. I exhaled and headed home. Give it a little more time, I told Kaiwei, holding her close. Once I earn enough merit to become a 100-man commander myself, Wang Eru won't be a threat anymore. You absolutely can do it. She looked at me with more confidence than I had in myself. This girl believed in me harder than I believed in my own system. After that, Kaiwei went to cook and I headed to my secret training spot on the mountain. Saber out. Mind focused, I ran through the Slaughter Heaven Saber art over and over. With my upgraded yellow grade talent, I could actually feel my technique improving in real time. Every swing was a little sharper, every transition a little smoother. Half an hour of practice and the rock I'd been using as a target was covered in slash marks like a cheese grater. At this rate, I could level up my technique from beginner to minor accomplishment without spending any slaughter points at all. My talent upgrade was pulling its weight big time, and my iron bone constitution meant I could train for half an hour straight without feeling even slightly tired. This confirmed what I'd suspected. Dumping all points into raw combat power would have been a rookie mistake. Balanced stats were the real cheat code. Higher talent meant faster learning. Stronger body meant longer training sessions. Together they multiplied everything. Even among third-rank warriors, there were strong ones and weak ones. And right now, I was confident Wang Eru couldn't beat me anymore. Same rank, but my fundamentals were superior. I couldn't help daydreaming about what came next. If yellow grade talent was this good, what about mystic grade, earth grade, heaven grade? If iron bone constitution was this solid, what about silver organs, gold body? I checked my stats and came back to reality. Slaughter points, 600. 600. From killing those 3 goons. That was pocket change. I needed way more. Lunch was incredible. Kaiwei had picked up some cured meat at the market, and combined with her usual magic, it was the best meal I'd had since arriving in this world. I watched her clean up the dishes afterward and felt a warm glow in my chest. This wife, best decision I ever made. She could host a banquet and cook a feast. 3 lifetimes of good karma finally paying off. I swore to myself right then, no more letting her live in fear. No more looking over our shoulders. I was going to climb so high that nobody would ever dare bother us again. The entire afternoon went to saber practice. Slash, step, pivot, thrust. Every move coordinated with footwork. Left feint into downward chop. Rising slash into lateral dodge. Over and over until the movements started to feel like breathing. Because when that battlefield came, technique wasn't just about killing. It was about coming home alive. By the time I got home from training, it was pitch dark. Even with iron bone constitution, a full afternoon of saber practice had me feeling it. The neighbors were all asleep already. In this era, People ate 2 meals a day and hit the bed the moment the sun went down. But not my wife. Kaiwei had actually made dinner, waiting for me with warm food on the table. In a world where most people only ate breakfast and lunch, she'd prepared an extra meal just because she was worried about my nutrition. A martial artist needs fuel, she said matter-of-factly. All the savings in the world won't matter if something happens to you on the battlefield. If you're gone, there's no point in me being here either. Hey, don't talk like that. I flicked her forehead lightly. And then, she caught my finger. With her mouth. My brain stopped working. She looked up at me with those flushed cheeks, leaned in close, and whispered in that soft, sweet voice right against my ear. It's late, husband. I haven't forgotten what I promised you this morning. Look, I'm going to spare you the details because a gentleman doesn't kiss and tell. Let's just say the candle stayed lit, several hours were involved, and by the end of it, the Slaughter Heaven Saber art was not the most intense workout I had that day. Afterward, I noticed something that made my heart skip a beat. She'd been completely untouched before tonight. Despite everything she'd been through, captured by barbarians, dragged across the frontier, nobody had laid a hand on her. I, Lin Feng, must have saved an entire country in my past life to deserve this kind of luck. Kaiwei lay there looking exhausted but content, a whole new warmth in her eyes. She curled up against my chest, feeling my heartbeat, and then suddenly tensed up when I put my arms around her. Husband? She looked at me with slight panic, probably thinking round 2 was incoming. I just laughed and held her close. Relax. Your husband knows when to show mercy. I patted her back gently. We've got plenty of time ahead of us, little lady. She buried her face in my chest and started pounding me with the weakest punches known to mankind. Husband is so mean. Her fury fists felt like a massage. We cuddled for a while longer before finally drifting off. Next morning, Kaiwei woke up sore and reached for me, but I wasn't there. For a second, that old fear crept back in. The loneliness from months of being dragged around as a captive, never knowing what came next. Then she smelled something sweet drifting in from the kitchen. I walked in carrying a bowl of fresh porridge I'd made. Rice cooked soft with medicinal herbs, a touch of brown sugar, and some appetite-boosting ingredients mixed in. The perfect recovery meal for a woman in her condition. Fresh out of the pot. Good for the body. I sat on the edge of the bed, propped her up against the pillow, and spoon-fed her. Blowing on each spoonful to cool it down first, obviously. She ate like a happy little hamster, and watching her enjoy it gave me more satisfaction than killing Tinsong Chans. See, back in my previous life, cooking was my one real hobby outside of work. I'd even studied traditional Chinese medicinal food therapy, learned which ingredients helped with recovery, which ones boosted energy, all that stuff. Never thought that knowledge would come in handy after transmigrating into a medieval war zone. But here we are. Best investment ever. A bowl of that medicinal porridge, and Siwei's color came back so fast, even I was impressed. I had a bowl myself. The effect was incredible. Then it hit me. This world had spiritual energy in the air, the soil, the plants. My food therapy knowledge from Earth combined with this world's natural resources was basically creating super porridge. I went to check on her, feeling a tiny bit guilty about last night. I may have been enthusiastic, but in my defense, have you seen my wife? A man can only resist so much. The soreness is mostly gone after your porridge, she said with those soft, curving eyes. Then she started leaning toward me again, that apricot blossom scent getting stronger, her little feet peeking out from under the blanket. She was inviting me. And I am a man, not a monk. Round 2 commenced. Here's the beautiful thing about having a warrior's body. My stamina was basically infinite. A normal guy would have been flat on his back for a week after these past 2 days. I actually felt better afterward. Refreshed. Like all the tension I'd been carrying just melted away. Turns out this was actually good for my martial arts mindset. Who knew? I kissed her forehead and headed to the mountain to train. By sunset, my Slaughter Heaven Saber art was getting noticeably sharper. If I kept this up, I might actually reach minor accomplishment before the battle. That evening, we sat down together and I hadn't even thought about anything funny yet when Kaiwei shot me a suspicious look. Like I was some kind of criminal just for existing near a bed. I sighed and held her hand instead. Her palms had small calluses from the rough life she'd been living lately. I made a mental note. First thing after my promotion, I'm buying her all the skincare products in Feng Shui County. Then she surprised me. Husband, I want to learn martial arts too. I want to become a warrior. I blinked. Why would you want to suffer through that? I'll protect you. You're only home once every 15 days, she said quietly. If bad people come while you're gone. She had a point. A very good point. What if Wang Eru or someone worse showed up when I wasn't around? On impulse, I had the system scan her. The results nearly knocked me off my chair. Name, Hikaiwei. Identity, host's wife. Fallen noble family's young lady. Combat power, too low to detect. Constitution, ordinary mortal. Martial techniques, none. Talent, mystic grade. Mystic, grade. I spent tens of thousands of slaughter points just to get my talent up to yellow grade, which was already considered 1 in 10,000. My wife was sitting here with mystic grade as her natural baseline. That was probably higher than anyone in the entire Yin Pass military. I'd been walking around thinking I was the main character with my fancy system, and my wife was casually sitting on talent that made mine look like a participation trophy. The system also confirmed she was indeed a fallen noble lady. All the clues I'd picked up, the refined manners, the cooking skills, the love for calligraphy, it all made sense now. I married a hidden genius. I didn't just pick up a beautiful wife. I picked up a treasure. While I was sitting there having my mind blown, Kaiwei mistook my silence for rejection. Her head drooped lower and lower. I know my talent probably can't compare to yours. I just wanted some ability to protect myself so you wouldn't worry. Lower still. Forget I said anything. I won't bring it up again. I snapped out of it, slammed my palm on the table, and shouted, "Practice." Of course you're practicing. What kind of husband would I be if I didn't support my wife? Her face lit up like a lantern. You mean it? Then she suddenly deflated again, looking guilty. Actually, never mind. I changed my mind. It's too much trouble. Oh no you don't. Not after I just found out you're sitting on mystic grade talent. You're training if I have to drag you to the mountain myself. Absolutely not. You're doing this. We don't even have enough money for a sword, and we still need to buy food for your training. Even now, Kaiwei was putting me first. This woman was going to make me cry one of these days. Wait right here, wifey. I ran out to the stable, pushed aside some hay in the corner, and popped open a hidden cellar. Inside was a sword I'd taken off one of Song Chun's goons. I'd stashed it thinking it might be useful someday. Today was that day. The blade gleamed cold in the moonlight when I drew it. Not bad at all. Kaiwei looked at it nervously when I brought it inside. Where did you get this? One of those 3 guys used a sword. I figured we might need it later. Her expression darkened a bit, probably thinking about the dead man who'd owned it. If it bothers you, I'll have a blacksmith make a new one. No. She grabbed it quickly, gave it a few test swings. Being made of lighter iron, it actually fit her frame perfectly. It's actually really nice, husband. She was just worried about spending more money. I swear I married the world's greatest wife. That night, while Kaiwei was making the bed, I whispered to the system, "Can I exchange my points for a sword technique for my wife?" Ding. Searching for suitable techniques. Ding. Search complete. Ding. Congratulations. With your remaining 600 slaughter points, you can exchange for a sword technique. My heart leaped. Just kidding. Techniques aren't cabbages. Know your place. This piece of, before I could explode, the system chimed again. Ding. New feature unlocked. Buy now, pay later. You may borrow slaughter points at 10% interest. You're a loan shark now? A system running a lending business. I started haggling, begging, reasoning, guilt-tripping. Every negotiation tactic I'd ever learned in corporate life back on Earth. And it worked. The system actually caved. Ding. Interest reduced to 5%. My eyes lit up. Could I push it even lower? Ding. Custom sword technique created for Hikaiwei. Flowing cloud moon-chasing sword art. Cost, 50,000 points. Loan term, 3 months. Principal plus interest, 52,500 points. Late payment equals double interest. I did some quick math. 52,500 points. If each Class A soldier was worth 200 points, that's 262.5 soldiers. Song Chun, you worthless cockroach. Years in the military, and you were only worth 200 points. Maybe try harder in your next life. At least at 3rd rank, I could kill enough enemies on the battlefield to pay this off. Probably. Back in my old life, I had a mortgage and a car loan. Now I had a martial arts loan. The transmigration experience just keeps on giving. Ding. Choose delivery method. Option 1, digital, mental transfer. Option 2, paper copy. I stared at the options. Digital would beam it straight into my brain. Great for me. Impossible to explain to Kaiwei. Hey honey, I just magically know a sword technique. Let me teach you. Yeah, that wouldn't raise any questions at all. Paper copy, I sighed. Ding. Paper copy selected. Now printing. Please wait. Then I watched my slaughter points counter. My precious 600 remaining points started dropping. Fast. 500. 300. 100. 0. System, what the hell are you doing? Please maintain civilized language. All system operations are legal and compliant. Then where did my points go? As everyone knows, printing requires fees. Paper copies have printing costs. It charged me a printing fee. 600 points. For paper, I unleashed every curse word in the Chinese language. A symphony of profanity so magnificent it could make the heavens weep and the earth tremble. The system didn't respond. Didn't care. Not even a little. I stood there panting, having screamed myself hoarse at a machine that had the emotional range of a calculator. It was like punching a cloud. Absolutely maddening. No mortgage. No car payment. But I now owed 52,500 slaughter points in martial arts debt, had 0 points to my name, and just got scammed out of my last 600 points for printer INK. Transmigration is a scam. System, one day I will earn enough slaughter points to slap you in the face with them, I swore silently. The technique manual materialized in my hand, an actual physical booklet. I brought it inside and wrapped my arm around Kaiwei. Wifey, a martial arts master I knew in the army, left this behind. It's a sword technique that's perfect for you. Master it, and you might even be able to beat your husband someday. She flipped through the pages, detailed illustrations, step-by-step sword forms, beautifully drawn. Her eyes went wide with delight. Husband really does spoil me. She planted a kiss on my cheek. Obviously, you're my wife. Who else would I spoil? Can I start practicing tomorrow? I tapped her nose. Whatever makes my wifey happy. Next morning, we headed to the back mountain together. First lesson, the basic breathing technique that every soldier learned. Standard stuff, nothing fancy, safest method to start with, though also the slowest. I demonstrated the whole thing. Focus on your dantian, 3 inches above the navel. 3 breaths out, 1 breath in. Stay calm. If you get anxious, you could hurt yourself. Once you feel energy moving in your dantian, you've got it. Got it. Husband. She sat down cross-legged and began. I stood there watching, arms crossed. Mystic grade talent, huh? Let's see what you've really. Husband. I feel it. There's warmth flowing in my belly. It's kind of nice. I blinked. Then blinked again. The previous owner of this body had taken an entire month to reach this stage with the same technique. A full 30 days of daily practice just to feel the first trickle of energy. My wife did it in minutes. I nodded mechanically. Good. Great. Half an hour later, she had completely mastered the basics. I got flexed on. By my own wife. On her first day, the gap between yellow grade and mystic grade talent wasn't a gap. It was a canyon. A Grand Canyon. With a river at the bottom and eagles flying through it. All right, time for sword practice, I said, trying to maintain some dignity. I handed her the flowing cloud moon-chasing sword manual. At least this would humble her a bit. A top-tier technique custom-made by the system? No way she picks it up that fast. She tried a few moves, then stopped and looked at me. Husband, this is so much harder than the breathing technique. Finally, welcome to reality, genius wife. Totally normal, I said, acting all wise and mysterious. Then I exploded forward at third-rank speed, throwing punches at her to force her into combat reflexes. I deliberately slowed my attacks so she could react and dodge. While she ducked and weaved, I called out instructions. First form, Cloud Shuttle Moon Shadow. It's about evasion. Flow like a cloud. Don't fight force with force. I kept pressing. Sideways Mystic Grade brain kicked in, and she started reading my attack patterns almost instantly. After just a few repetitions, she was executing the first form from memory. Her sword traced an arc through the air, the tip tapping the ground as she drifted backward like smoke. She even angled the blade to catch sunlight and flash it in my eyes. Cheeky. Second form. Moon Embrace, I called out, ramping up the pressure. She leaped, her sword carving a perfect crescent arc, and actually transitioned from defense to offense, thrusting straight at me. Third form. Flowing Cloud Slash. Suddenly her sword work turned into a storm. Fast, sharp, Every strike aimed at vital points, but holding back just enough. I actually had to retreat. Each thrust looked gentle, like clouds drifting over water, but the killing intent hidden inside was razor-sharp. 2 hours. That's all it took. 2 hours, and she went from, "What's a sword?" to having the entire three-form technique at beginner proficiency. She could now handle any common thug or bandit. Real self-defense capability. And the technique the system designed was perfect for her, built around using speed and deception to wear down stronger opponents, then finishing them with the devastating flowing cloud slash when they slipped up. A weak beat strong style tailored to her frame. I leaned against a willow tree and watched her practice solo. The three forms started connecting seamlessly. She began improvising, adjusting angles, changing timing, making the textbook moves into something alive and dangerous. And somehow, through all of it, she looked like she was dancing. Robes flowing, sword gleaming, movements graceful enough to steal your breath. Beautiful and deadly at the same time. I stood there, slack-jawed, watching my wife turn a morning lesson into a one-woman sword ballet. Mystic-grade talent is absolutely broken. And I married it. While Kaiwei and I were playing swords on our mountain, Wang Eru was having the worst day of his life back at camp. The garrison commander, General Pan Feng, a 6th-rank warrior who could snap Wang Eru like a chopstick, had summoned him to the command tent. Both 1,000-man commanders were standing there too. Wu Chuang, a 9-foot giant built like a bear with a scar running down his forehead, and Hu Lai, a shorter guy whose reputation for brutality made soldiers wet themselves just from eye contact. Wang Eru was on his knees, sweating bullets. "A major battle is coming," Pan Feng said without even looking at him. "I told everyone to prepare. And now, just days later, 3 of your soldiers have vanished." He got up, walked over, and stomped on Wang Eru's back so hard the guy face-planted into the floor and coughed up blood. And that was only 10% of a 6th-rank warrior's strength. 100-man commander Wang Eru. Failure to maintain discipline. 100 military lashes. Deserters under your command. Crime elevated. Effective immediately, you are stripped of your rank. Start over as a common soldier. Wang Eru's soul left his body. 100 lashes he could survive. But losing his title? That meant his career was finished. Luckily for him, both 1,000-man commanders spoke up. Wu Chuang argued that switching commanders right before a battle would hurt morale. Hu Lai pointed out that Wang Eru had the best combat record among all the 100-man commanders. Pan Feng gave them a cold look. "Since when did you two grow hearts?" But he relented, barely. "Fine. He keeps the title. But the 100 lashes stay. Military discipline is non-negotiable." The punishment officers dragged Wang Eru out and beat him until his backside looked like raw hamburger. His own soldiers had to carry him home on a stretcher. He lay face down on his bed, screaming curses at Song Chun while his servants applied medicine. "Song Chun, you worthless turtle. When I find you, I'll make you beg for death." Everyone in the household hid as far away from him as possible. "Sorry, buddy. Song Chun's already begging, just not to you. And not in this world anymore." Meanwhile, my life had turned into a training montage from hell. Ever since Kaiwei picked up the sword, she'd gone completely insane with motivation. Every morning before dawn, she'd shake me awake and drag me to the mountain. We trained from sunrise to deep into the night. The only breaks were meals. Her progress was terrifying. The flowing cloud moon-chasing sword art went from beginner to visibly sharper every single day. Her breathing technique was expanding her meridians. I could hear the crackling sounds from her body as her energy channels widened. She was maybe a day or two from breaking through to first-rank warrior. Good news. My wife was becoming a legitimate martial artist who could protect herself. Bad news. I was so exhausted that we hadn't had any nighttime activities in days. I literally couldn't muster the energy. Between my own saber training and coaching her all day, I was running on fumes. This mountain had basically become our second home. I was starting to consider building a second shack up here. 2 days later, dawn. Purple light streaking across the sky. Kaiwei sat meditating as the sun rose. She'd figured out on her own that practicing breathing techniques at sunrise was most effective. A wisp of white mist floated from her lips, and I could hear the popping sounds inside her body growing louder. Her meridians were almost fully opened. She finished her session, hopped up light as a butterfly, and landed in front of me with bright, shining eyes. The girl who'd been crying on a stage a week ago now radiated confidence and vitality. At this rate, you'll break through to first-rank warrior in a day or two, I told her. Then I won't have to worry about you when I'm back at camp. Obviously, she grinned, twirling her sword playfully. Then those pretty eyes locked onto me with a competitive spark. Husband, wanna spar? Oh great. I created a monster. Wifey, you're not my match yet. I'm a third-rank warrior. Even if you break through to first rank, you still can't beat me. Before I finished talking, her sword was already flying at my face. Her cloud shuttle moon shadow had evolved. Instead of the textbook defensive retreat, she'd turned it into a sudden forward thrust. Creative. Terrifying. Classic mystic grade brain at work. All right, wifey. No mercy then. I grabbed my saber, and we went at it for real. Blade met blade, and I immediately felt the difference. Her striking power had jumped significantly. She was on the doorstep of first-rank breakthrough, and it showed. Her moon embrace form launched her skyward, sword flashing like silver ribbon, not giving me a second to breathe. Rocks shattered, grass got sliced clean, century-old trees got carved up like butter. If this hit a normal person, they'd lose their head instantly. Okay, wait. Am I actually about to lose to my own wife? I got serious. Unleashed first-rank warrior power, not third-rank. I kept my promise, and used the speed boost to catch a tiny opening. Instead of clashing blades, I went for an empty-hand disarm, smacked her wrist precisely, and snatched the sword right out of her grip. You lose, wifey. She puffed up her cheeks like an angry chipmunk. You cheated. You said you wouldn't use third-rank power. I didn't. That was only first rank. Her eyes went wide. She grabbed her sword back, used her cloud shuttle moon shadow as a movement technique, and literally ran away from me. I'm never talking to husband again. You're a liar. She disappeared into the trees in about 2 seconds flat. I scratched my nose nervously. At this rate, once she actually breaks through to first rank, then second, then third, my ability to maintain any authority in this marriage was going to shrink to zero. I sighed and jogged after her. The days flew by. Before I knew it, vacation was over. On the last morning, I got up early and bought a ton of rice from the grain shop. Then I hiked up the mountain and chopped a massive pile of firewood, split it all, and stacked it neatly outside the kitchen. Made sure the house was fully stocked. Everything my wife could possibly need while I was gone. When it was finally time to leave, Siway's bedroom door was shut tight. I didn't blame her. I picked up my pack and headed for the gate. The door creaked open behind me. Husband, don't go. I don't want you to leave. She slammed into me like a cannonball, burying her face in my chest, tears already flowing. Can't you just stay? I stroked her hair. Wifey, I'm going back to earn military merit. Once I make 100-man commander, we're getting a big courtyard house. Make 1,000-man commander? A whole estate. You'll be a proper noble lady with maids carrying your bags and guards protecting you. Nobody will ever dare look at you sideways again. I don't want any of that. She squeezed tighter. I don't need mansions or servants. I just need you to come home safe. I didn't push her away. She didn't want me to go, and honestly, I didn't want to leave either. But military law didn't care about feelings, and missing the deadline meant serious punishment. More importantly, I needed to climb. Higher rank, more power, better life for both of us. Wifey, if you keep hugging me, I'll miss my check-in deadline. I kissed her cheek. Wait for me at home. And when I get back, I'm going to punish a certain little troublemaker properly. I'm not scared of you. She was blushing, crying, pouting, and trying to look tough all at the same time. Absolutely lethal combination. I climbed on the horse and rode off without looking back. If I turned around, I'd never leave. From behind me, her voice carried on the wind. Husband, you have to come back. Someone's waiting for you. I gripped the reins tighter. I'll be back. I promise. And when I do, nobody is ever going to make you cry again. Half an hour later, I arrived at the military camp. My bunkmates were lined up outside the barracks for some reason, and the moment they saw me, the roasting began. Lin Foam, how's that heterochromia wife taste? Nice and smooth. Ha ha ha. Look how skinny he got. Must have been busy in bed all 5 days. Lucky dog got the prettiest one just because nobody else wanted the cursed girl. If it wasn't for the war coming, the 100-man commander would have taken her himself. I ignored all of it. Just a bunch of guys who couldn't get grapes calling them sour. Then Jiang Yi, one of the few decent private rank guys I got along with, sidled up and whispered, Lin Foam, The 100-man commander is waiting for you inside. And heads up. He looks like he's in a really bad mood. Oh, wonderful. Wang Eru wanted to see me. The same Wang Eru who just got 100 lashes on the butt and blamed Song Chun for everything. Song Chun, who I killed and buried on a mountain. This should be fun. Thanks for the heads up, I told Jiangyi. Yeah, of course Wang Eru was in a bad mood. The guy just got 100 military sticks to the backside because of 3 missing soldiers. 3 soldiers that I personally buried on a mountainside. Whatever miracle medicine he took to recover that fast, I was almost impressed. I walked into the barracks. The place was a dump. Rows of crude beds crammed together. The combined stench of dozens of unwashed men hitting me like a wall. My little thatched cottage suddenly felt like a luxury suite. Wang Eru was sitting on his bunk looking like a storm cloud with legs. Time for my Oscar-winning performance. I shuffled over, head down, doing my best, kicked puppy impression. H100-man commander. Why you wanted to see me? He squinted at me. Whatever suspicion, he had visibly dropped a few notches. Hard to imagine this stuttering mess could kill 3 Class A warriors. Did you see Song Chun the day we picked wives? He asked bluntly. Song. Song bro. I scratched my head like a confused child. Song bro is a Class A soldier. A real warrior. He doesn't really hang out with us private rank guys. Song bro usually. Enough? Wang Eru waved me off, clearly getting a headache from hearing me say, Song bro, one more time. He stood up to leave, but stopped at the door and turned back with a look that made my skin crawl. Now that Song Chun's gone, I need some sharp guys around me. You should learn from your Song bro. Next time you get leave, bring your wife to my house. She's pretty. As your 100-man commander, I should give you 2 a proper welcome gift, shouldn't I? Translation. Become the next Song Chun and deliver my wife to his bed. Inside, my blood was ice cold. Outside, I was beaming like an idiot. Thank you so much, Commander. You're so kind to me. I don't know how to repay you. Whatever you need, I'll do it. Absolutely loyal. 100%. He slapped my shoulder. Kid, you've got a future. He walked out laughing. The moment his back disappeared, I dropped the act. Looking back at my own performance, I'd been so pathetically spineless that I almost wanted to slap myself. Wimpy's mom opening the door for Wimpy. Wimpy has arrived home, level of Wimpy. But it worked. He bought every word. I sat on my bunk and calculated. 7 or 8 days until the next leave. If Wang Eru tried anything before then, I'd end him. At my current level, killing him would be as easy as chopping vegetables. Jiang Yi came over looking worried. You okay, brother? The commander didn't bully you. I'm fine. I smiled and left it at that. The less this honest kid knew, the safer he'd be. The next few days were nothing but brutal training. The whole camp was preparing for the big battle against the northern barbarian elites. I drilled basic military saber techniques all day, 13 standard forms. Chop, hack, thrust, slash, sweep, stab, cleave, block. Basic stuff that the system didn't even bother registering on my stats page. But practice was practice. The drill instructors were shirtless meatheads stomping around screaming motivational poetry. Sweat more in training. Bleed less in battle. I don't care what rank you are. Swords don't check your ID. If you're not dead from training, then you're not training hard enough. Everyone trained like their lives depended on it. Because they did. By end of each day, soldiers were wringing puddles of sweat out of their clothes. Back in the barracks, guys collapsed onto beds and passed out mid-sentence. Some had given up hope entirely, figuring every extra day alive was a bonus. For bottom-rank privates like the old me, fighting barbarian elites was basically a death sentence. Pure cannon fodder. And then there was me, sitting calmly on my bunk after a full day of training, barely sweating, looking more energized than when I started. Hey, Lin Feng, we're all half dead and you look refreshed? What the hell? Must be that heterochromia wife casting witchcraft on him. Remember how he used to collapse after half a day? Everyone nodded along. The old Lin Feng could barely survive morning drills. Now he was outperforming guys twice his size. Clearly black magic was the only explanation. I just smiled. Let them think what they want. Wang Eru noticed my improvement too. But before he could think too hard about it, a messenger burst in. General's orders. All troops assemble at the training ground immediately. Latecomers will not be waited for. The messenger sprinted off to the next unit. Wang Eru's face changed instantly. Years of experience told him exactly what this meant. It was time. The battle was coming. Wang Eru forgot all about me and scrambled to get his troops to the parade ground. Every soldier in camp assembled, and when even the veteran soldiers looked worried, you knew something bad was coming. Up on the high platform stood the command staff, 2,000-man commanders, a deputy general, a lieutenant, and the big boss himself, General Pan Feng, 6th-rank warrior, supreme commander of Yin Pass. Golden light armor, power walk, radiating enough authority to flatten a building. He scanned the crowd and dropped the bomb. Our scouts report that the Northern Barbarian Elite Force, the Bloodwolf Army, will arrive at Yin Pass in 2 days. The whole field erupted like someone kicked a hornet's nest. The Bloodwolf Army? Are you kidding me? Why would they come here? We're a tiny border outpost with 3,000 men. They have 5,000 elite warriors. Their weakest soldier is a 2nd-rank warrior. We're dead. Their commander is a 7th rank. It's over. Completely over. Yeah, on paper it looked hopeless. The Bloodwolf Army was a top-tier elite force, never lost a battle against Great Zhou. 5,000 soldiers, every single one at least 2nd rank. Our garrison had 3,000, most of whom couldn't beat a determined raccoon. But while everyone around me was having a panic attack, I was doing very different math. Each Bloodwolf soldier was at minimum a 2nd-rank warrior. That meant at least 200 slaughter points per kill. 5,000 soldiers times 200 points. 1,000,000 points. I could pay off my entire system debt and still have a mountain of points left over. I licked my dry lips. This wasn't a disaster. This was a buffet. Pan Feng saw the chaos spreading and stomped his foot so hard the stone platform cracked in half. Silence. Anyone who disrupts morale before battle will be executed on the spot. Want me to start by removing a few heads as examples? 6th-rank killing intent washed over the field like a tidal wave. The 100-man commanders scrambled to calm their men. The lower-ranked soldiers were shaking so hard their armor was rattling. Poor Jiang Yi straight up wet his pants. Nobody laughed, though. Honestly, half the guys there were close to doing the same. Pan Feng knew fear alone wouldn't hold. So he pulled out the carrot. You think I'd send you to die for nothing? Reinforcements are already on the way. This fight isn't hopeless. We recently expanded by 1,000 men. That means 10 new 100-man commander positions and 1,000-man commander position are open. Kill enough barbarians, earn enough merit, and those ranks are yours. I give you my personal word. Not even the gods themselves can stop you from getting promoted. Elite army? So what? I fight elites for breakfast. The mood shifted instantly. The old soldiers went from terrified to hungry. The 100-man commanders started eyeing each other competitively. Wang Eru was practically drooling, probably already rehearsing his 1,000-man commander acceptance speech in his head. After that, everyone got to work. 2 days of non-stop preparation, mornings building defensive structures, afternoons reinforcing the city walls. No breaks, no complaints. Then, just like that, battle day arrived. I assembled with my unit before dawn and climbed the wall under Wang Eru's command. The war horns sounded, long, deep notes that echoed off the walls and settled into your bones. The moment they stopped, the ground started shaking. I squinted through the rising dust clouds, using my warrior's eyesight to peer into the distance. And there they were, 5,000 Bloodwolf soldiers, marching in formation, every one of them armored head to toe. The killing intent rolling off them merged together into something almost visible, like a massive phantom blood-red wolf charging straight at our little town. The air itself felt heavier. The walls trembled under my feet with every synchronized step they took. Everyone around me went pale. I cracked my knuckles. Come on in, boys. Daddy needs his points. The battle hadn't even started, and I could already feel our side's morale crumbling like a wet sandcastle. All that bravery Pan Feng had pumped into everyone, gone. Evaporated the second 5,000 armored killing machines appeared on the horizon. Every face around me was whiter than fresh tofu. Me? I was staring at the Bloodwolf army like a starving man staring at an all-you-can-eat buffet. Those weren't enemies. Those were walking, talking slaughter point piggy banks. Every single one of them worth at least 200 points. I wasn't scared. I was doing mental math and salivating. Up on the command tower, General Pan Feng stood in his golden armor, looking out at the enemy surrounding us on all 4 sides. Behind that stern face, I'm sure he was sweating. Turns out the general who guards the north, Yin Nantian himself, had secretly visited days ago with grim news. The barbarians were attacking the entire northern border simultaneously. No spare troops anywhere. Pan Feng had to hold Yin Pass for 10 days. 10 days until reinforcements arrived. Hold it, and he'd be a hero. Lose it, and he'd be a traitor to the dynasty. Pan Feng slammed his palm on the wall, drew his sword, and roared with the look of a man ready to die. The city stands while we stand. The city falls when we fall. Meanwhile, back at our village, Kai Wei heard the war horns. She stood at the window, hands pressed together, staring toward the city walls. The neighbors, Annie Zhang, Lu the carpenter, Zhang Lai the hunter, were all packing up to flee. They stopped to warn her. Girl, pack your things and run. If the walls fall, none of us survive. The enemy's an elite force. Those soldiers on the wall can't hold them. You're pretty enough to start over somewhere else, even with the eyes. Being alive is what matters. Kai Wei thanked them, genuinely. These three were the only ones besides me who'd ever shown her any kindness, even after the heterochromia reveal. Then she refused to leave. I'm staying. I'm waiting for my husband to come home. She went back inside and started repeating to herself like a prayer. He's a third-rank warrior. He's strong. He'll be fine. He has to be fine. She'd stopped believing in gods a long time ago. But today, for me, she prayed anyway. Back on the walls, I was getting practical. Smoke signals were lit. Defenders had spears, arrows, rolling stones, battering logs, fire oil, the whole medieval defense package lined up and ready. I was stationed on the eastern wall. After the initial excitement wore off, I started thinking tactically. My Slaughter Heaven Saber art was built for close combat. I'd need enemies to actually climb up the wall to use it. Or I could use a bow to rack up kills from range. Of course, when they handed out bows, mine just happened to run out right when it was my turn. Thanks, Wang Eru. Real subtle. I turned to Jiang Yi, the only guy in the unit I was actually friendly with. He was clutching a bow with the confidence of a man who'd never held one in his life. Give me that. But Fuga, this is my first time holding a bow. I haven't even shot one arrow yet. Can I at least try? I snatched it out of his hands. When enemies climb the wall, hide behind me. Stay smart. Got it? Yes, SIR. Jiang Yi's face lit up like I'd just handed him a winning lottery ticket. Giving up his bow was apparently a small price for the Lin Foam protection plan. I tested the weight. A one-stone bow, 120 pounds of draw weight. For a normal adult, pulling this thing was a serious workout. For a third-rank warrior? Child's play. The military also had 2-stone and 3-stone bows, but those were reserved for officers. Only 100-man commanders and above could even handle them. Jiang Yi glanced at me from the corner of his eye. He'd been training next to me for days. He knew better than anyone how much I'd changed. In his mind, I was already secretly a warrior, and once this battle was over, promotion was guaranteed. He'd watched Class A soldiers struggle with exercises I breezed through. This kid had picked his horse to bet on, and he was all in on Lin Foam. Smart boy. Stick close, and you might actually survive this. I was standing there with my bow and 50 arrows when the system chimed in with impeccable timing. Ding. Detected. Host holding bow in combat scenario. Custom technique created. Soul-chasing arrow art. Would you like to use by now, pay later? This system was addicted to lending money. One taste of being a loan shark, and it couldn't stop. But I checked the description and my jaw dropped. Soul-chasing arrow art. At minor accomplishment, arrows pierce armor, penetrate chests, triple kill per shot. At major accomplishment, arrows explode bodies, leaving nothing behind. Triple kill per shot? Sold. Take my money. Take all my money. I don't care anymore. Ding. Soul-chasing arrow art upgraded to minor accomplishment. Total cost, 80,000 points plus 4,000 interest. Current debt, 137,500 slaughter points. You're a lone shark wearing a system costume, I muttered. Whatever happened to trust between a man and his system? Where's the trust? No response. As usual, the technique flooded into my brain, thousands of repetitions compressed into a single moment. When I gripped the bow again, it felt completely different. Like I'd been born holding this thing. Every groove in the wood, every tension point in the string, I could feel it all. I gave the bowstring a test pull, and the vibration sang through the air. That was the sound of power. My arms had even changed slightly, shoulders broader, bones denser. Built for archery. The system really didn't do things halfway. When it robbed you, at least the merchandise was top quality. Then the Bloodwolf charge horns blew. 5,000 elite warriors sprinted toward our walls. The ground shook with every step. On the wall, every archer pulled their bowstrings taut, arrows glinting in the morning light. The enemy closing fast. 500 paces. 300. 200. At 100 paces, Pan Foam screamed. Fire! Arrows rained down like a locust swarm. The air was nothing but whistling death. Most arrows bounced off the Bloodwolf soldier's armor. A few lucky shots found faces. But these were elites. Most of them simply knocked the arrows aside while still running. And then there was me. I drew, aimed, released. Drew, aimed, released. Over and over like a machine. Every arrow I fired found its mark. Bloodwolf soldiers dropped like wheat before a scythe. Ding. Killed Bloodwolf regular member, second rank warrior. 200 points. Ding. 200 points. Ding. 200 points. Ding. 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 The notifications were going off so fast they blurred together. Music to my ears. But one man couldn't hold back an army. Soon the Bloodwolf vanguard reached the base of our walls. Siege ladders went up at terrifying speed. Soldiers swarmed upward like ants. Our guys poured boiling oil and golden juice. Trust me, you don't want to know what that is. Down onto the climbers. Screams echoed everywhere. At the main gate, battering rams slammed into the doors over and over. Boom, boom, boom. Each hit rattled our nerves as much as the wood. Then their catapults started launching. Boulders the size of oxen flew through the air and crashed into walls, streets, and defenders alike. Parts of the wall actually caved inward. But the worst threat? The Bloodwolf archers. These lunatics were standing on top of actual wolves, riding them like surfboards, shooting arrows at us with perfect accuracy. Stable as if they were on solid ground. Their arrows started picking off our defenders left and right, and our already shaky morale was cracking. Are we going to make it? Jiang Yi whimpered next to me. Stick close and shut up. I pulled an arrow, drew the bowstring back into a half moon, and let the soul-chasing technique guide my aim. Release. One arrow. It punched through the first wolf archer's chest plate, went clean through his body, hit the guy behind him, and kept going through a third one. 3 elite soldiers, 1 arrow, dead before they hit the ground. Ding. 200. Ding. 200. Ding. 200. 600 points from a single shot. Beautiful. Shame these archers were still classified as regular members. Would have been nice if they were worth more. But hey, volume makes up for it. I kept firing. Arrow after arrow, each one a guided missile of death. The pressure on the eastern wall started dropping noticeably as I thinned out the attackers. The beautiful thing was, in all the chaos of battle, fire, smoke, screaming, boulders crashing everywhere, nobody except Jiang Yi even noticed what I was doing. Everyone was too busy trying not to die. The debt counter in my head was ticking down with every kill. Keep climbing those ladders, boys. Daddy's paying off his mortgage 1 arrow at a time. While I was busy turning Bloodwolf soldiers into pincushions, things were moving at a much higher level that I had no clue about. 20 miles outside Woolly City, General Yin Nantian, the same guy who'd saved me from the county magistrate's brat, was standing in the wind with dozens of his officers, waiting for someone important enough to make a supreme military commander stand outside like a doorman. A massive banner appeared on the horizon. One word, Zhang. Behind it, a convoy of guards escorting an enormous horse-drawn carriage with crystal curtains. The 4 bodyguards flanking it were all 8th rank warriors, used as mere escorts. Whatever was inside that carriage was seriously important. Yin Nantian walked up and dropped to one knee. General Yin Nantian greets the Left General, Marquis of Wei Yuan, Zhang Qingtsang. Left General, one of the Empire's top military commanders, a Grandmaster realm warrior. He looked barely 30 despite being much older, because reaching Grandmaster level slowed aging dramatically. The man controlled tens of thousands of troops and held a noble title. Technically a third-grade official on paper, but in real power he rivaled anyone in the imperial court. Nantian, we're family here, no need for formalities. Come ride with me. Sharing a carriage with the Marquis was an insane honor. Yin Nantian practically floated up the steps. Inside, the Marquis praised him for the recent battle results. I expected heavy losses even if you held the city. But your war report shows our side dominated. Your biggest casualties were just the vanguard and raiding squads. Very impressive. Yin Nantian wanted to mention me. The reason Woolly City was saved, but held back. I was just a 6th-rank garrison commander at this point. If he started talking up some random border officer too enthusiastically, the Marquis might think he was building a personal power base. That would backfire badly. The Marquis eventually brought up a sensitive topic himself. He'd clearly already heard about Yin Nantian protecting some young officer from the son of a rival general. Tell me, why is a mere 1,000-man commander worth the personal protection of the great general who guards the north? Yin Nantian dropped to his knees again. My lord, he's not a 1,000-man commander anymore. I personally appointed him as the garrison commander of Yin Pass. The Marquis raised an eyebrow. I know. What I want to know is why you bypassed the Ministry of War to make that appointment. If you don't explain it to me clearly, how am I supposed to deal with those old foxes at the ministry? So Yin Nantian spilled everything. Every detail about my performance, my abilities, my achievements. He finished with a formal salute and staked his entire career on it. My lord, I swear on my lifetime of military service. Every word is true. The Marquis's expression turned serious. He knew Yin Nantian well enough to know the man would never lie about something like this. Maybe this Lin Feng character really was something special. Fine. I'll handle the Ministry of War. They won't bother you. Just like that. One sentence from the Marquis, and the entire bureaucratic problem disappeared. That's what real power looked like. Then Zhang Qingsong dropped an even bigger bombshell. Nantian, the Emperor has issued secret orders to me and Right General Ma Chao. We're to rapidly assemble our forces over the coming months. Yin Nantian's eyes went wide. Then a grin split his face. His Majesty has finally decided to take the fight to the barbarians? I've been waiting for this day. He'd secretly petitioned for an offensive campaign multiple times. Stop waiting for the barbarians to raid and invade. Take the war to them. And now the Emperor had finally agreed. The Marquis smiled. I want your northern army as the vanguard. First battle, decisive battle. One strike to end it all. Somewhere far away on a dusty wall, I was shooting arrows and counting points, completely unaware that the entire empire was gearing up for war, and that my name had just been dropped in a conversation between two of the most powerful men in the country. While I was racking up kills on the wall, Kaiwei was having her own adventure back at the village. A gang of bandits led by some scumbag called Lu Matzi showed up to loot the evacuated homes. When one of them tried to torch our house, Kaiwei snapped. One flash of steel. The bandit's throat opened up like a fountain. First kill for my wife. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was cold as ice. Lu Matzi, take your men and leave, or I kill every last one of you. Lu Matzi heard the trembling in her voice and figured she was bluffing. Big mistake. Kill her. Then we'll have our fun with her until she's dead. The bandits charged. Saiwei's eyes went narrow. Everything I'd taught her on that mountain kicked in. Cloud shuttle, moon shadow, moon embrace. Every strike aimed at throats and vital points. The bandits saw nothing but a beautiful blur, and then they were on the ground leaking from wounds deep enough to see bone. Seconds later, Lu Matzi was the last one standing. His blade was sliced in half. Bodies everywhere. Don't ever come back. My sword won't give you a second chance. He kowtowed so fast he nearly broke his own forehead. Yes, ma'am. Never again. I'll farm potatoes forever. Get out. He scrambled onto his lame horse and vanished like a ghost. My wife then promptly looked at all the corpses, felt very sick, and went to wash her face. But she was smart about it. More bandits could come, and the next ones might actually know martial arts. She decided to hide in the mountain cave with the other villagers until I came home. That's my girl. Deadly and practical. Meanwhile, back on the eastern wall, things were escalating fast. Just as I predicted, the Blood Wolf army figured out where all the damage was coming from and shifted their entire formation, a snake line attack pattern, to concentrate everything on my section of the wall. Then came the announcement that made my scalp tingle. Commander's order. Whoever kills the archer will receive 1,000 gold and be promoted 2,000-man commander. They put a bounty on my head. 1,000 gold and a noble title. For killing me specifically. Well, I was flattered. Also slightly terrified. Every strong warrior in their army was now gunning for one target. Yours truly. But then I thought about it differently. Strong warriors coming to me meant I didn't have to go find them. Room service. Come 1, I kill 1. Come 2, I kill a pair. Ding. 200. Ding. 200 ding. 200. The kill notifications were stacking up like a slot machine hitting jackpot after jackpot. System, how many have I killed? Ding. Total kills, 510 Blood Wolf regular members, second-rank warriors. Total slaughter points earned, 102,510. In a few hours, I'd single-handedly wiped out more than half of 1,000-man commander's entire unit. No wonder they'd put a price on my head. At this rate, I'd pay off my system debt before dinner. I was still grinning when a pitch-black werewolf came sprinting up a siege ladder like it was a staircase. On its back sat a Blood Wolf 1,000-man commander. Massive guy, dark skin, muscles bulging everywhere, radiating killing intent thick enough to chew on. The wolf beneath him had glowing red eyes and breath that smelled like a slaughterhouse. "Watch out," Jiangyi screamed. I reacted on instinct, knocked an arrow and fired point-blank at the commander's face. Clang. He split my arrow in half with his saber, clean down the middle. First time the soul-chasing arrow art had ever failed me. This guy was the real deal. We locked eyes. Pure murder on both sides. "Impressive, kid. You killed this many of my elites all by yourself," he was seething. In wartime, soldiers were everything. Losing this many men meant even if he survived, he'd face military punishment back home. I'd basically destroyed his career with a bow and 50 arrows. I smirked. "Not my fault your Blood Wolf boys are so bad they can't dodge arrows from a bottom-rank private." A private? He knew Great Joe's ranking system. A private was barely a first-rank warrior at best. The idea that someone at that level had slaughtered 500 of his elites was incomprehensible. "You're dead," his saber screamed through the night air, trailing sparks and wind pressure, swinging straight at my head with enough force to split me in two. Round 1. Soul-chasing archer versus Blood Wolf commander. Fight. Too close for arrows. I grabbed a saber off the ground and unleashed my Slaughter Heaven saber art. Clang. Sparks everywhere. The impact sent me skidding back 10 meters. My shoes nearly disintegrated from the friction. My right hand was splitting open, every bone and muscle screaming in agony. Third rank versus fourth rank. The gap was a canyon. Even with my superior technique, raw power difference was brutal. But the Blood Wolf commander was the one looking shocked. He'd expected that strike to cut me in half, and I was still standing. Meanwhile, the soldiers around me went crazy with excitement. A bottom-rank private just went toe-to-toe with an enemy 1,000-man commander. "Lin Feng is mighty," Jiangyi screamed at the top of his lungs. The entire wall erupted. "Mighty, mighty, mighty." Everyone was pumped. Morale through the roof. Everyone except me. I was internally crying. "Guys, please, I'm dying here. Stop cheering and send help." System, how much to upgrade to fourth rank? Ding. 100,000 slaughter points required. I had over 100,000 from my kills. Perfect. Do it. Ding. Sorry, your points have already been deducted for outstanding debt. Remaining balance, 35,500. Insufficient for upgrade. System, I hope your entire family line. This scam artist collected ITS debt mid-battle. I was literally fighting for my life, and this lone shark chose now to garnish my wages. Before I could finish cursing, the commander's saber came crashing down again. The force launched me into the city wall like a human cannonball. Blood sprayed from my mouth. I staggered, barely staying upright. I looked toward Wang Eru for help. He was fighting a third-rank enemy and couldn't assist. But I caught the look in his eye after he finished his opponent. He deliberately chose not to come. In his mind, if the Blood Wolf commander killed me, problem solved. "Thanks for nothing, boss." The commander raised his saber again, his war wolf digging its claws into the stone. "Not bad, kid. You survived 2 of my full power strikes. I'll remember you. And you remember me, so you can find me for revenge in your next life. Host, would you like to use buy now, pay later? When you're already covered in lice, a few more don't itch. When you're already drowning in debt, what's a little more?" The system was quoting proverbs at me now. "Use it," I screamed through gritted teeth. "Either I go deeper in debt, or I die. Not a tough choice." Ding. Borrowed 100,000 slaughter points. Successfully upgraded to 4th rank warrior. Power exploded through my body. Every cell igniting with new strength. But there was zero time to celebrate because the commander's certain kill strike was already falling. Clang. I caught his blade on my broken saber. His eyes went dinner plate wide. Impossible. He'd just watched me get ragdolled. Now I was matching his strength. Before he could process it, a horn sounded from the Bloodwolf rear. Commander's order. Retreat. The 1,000-man commander's face twisted with rage. He glared at me with pure hatred, but he couldn't finish me quickly enough now that we were equals. With one last murderous look, he sheathed his blade. Pull back. His giant black wolf leaped off the wall. The entire Bloodwolf army began flooding away from the city. I didn't waste a single second on celebration. Grabbed my bow, started firing into the retreating enemy. Every fleeing soldier was worth 200 points, and I had debts to pay. The other defenders followed my lead, chasing and killing as many as they could. When the dust finally settled, we'd won. Barely. 1,000 of our 3,000 soldiers were gone. A brutal, ugly, Pyrrhic victory. But to everyone on that wall, there was one clear hero today. Soldiers swarmed me the moment fighting stopped. Jiang Yi, face caked in blood, was grinning ear to ear. I knew it. I knew you were hiding something, boss. You went one-on-one with a Bloodwolf 1,000-man commander. In this entire garrison, only General Pan Feng and the 2,000-man commanders could match that. A veteran Class A soldier, one who'd always looked down on me, clapped my shoulder. Brother Lin, I've been at Yin past 10 years. Haven't killed as many barbarians in my whole career as you did today. From now on, you're our big brother. They literally picked me up and started tossing me in the air like a championship quarterback. Brother Feng, Brother Feng, Brother Feng. That's when Wang Era showed up with a face like thunder. Battle just ended, and you're celebrating instead of cleaning the battlefield? What if the Bloodwolf army counterattacks? Disperse. Now, everyone knew the barbarians were done for the day. Wang Eru was just jealous. But rank was rank, so they put me down and shuffled off. Wang Eru cornered me, eyes cold as a snake's. I could see the gears grinding behind those beady little eyes. Days ago, I couldn't even qualify as a first-rank warrior. Now I was matching fourth-rank commanders blow for blow. My archery was inhuman. Something didn't add up. And he was definitely connecting the dots back to Song Chun's disappearance. Lin Feng, a few days ago you weren't even a warrior. Now you've got third-rank skills at minimum. And that archery of yours, never miss accuracy. Care to explain how you learned all that? He leaned in close. I suggest you answer honestly. Any lies, and I'll have you court-martialed. Here I was, the guy who literally saved the entire Eastern Wall, and Wang Eru was interrogating me like I'd committed a crime. The soldiers around us were not happy about it. Jiang Yi stepped up first. Commander, if it weren't for Brother Feng, we'd all be dead right now. What are you doing, treating him like a prisoner? Wham. Wang Eru kicked Jiang Yi flat on his back. Did I ask you? One more word, and I'll throw you to the Bloodwolves as dog food. Then he turned back to me. Lin Feng, you'd better explain yourself today, or else. I was done playing wimpy. Done pretending. Done stuttering and calling everyone, bro. Or else what? I became a third-rank warrior. Is that illegal? I saw the enemy, my blood started pumping, and I awakened on the spot. You gonna regulate my blood pressure too, third rank? Buddy, I'm fourth rank now. But he didn't need to know that. Wang Eru's eyes went cold. In that moment, I could see the certainty settling in his brain. Song Chun and the others, you killed them, didn't you? Got proof? No. Then step aside, 100-man commander. This lowly private has a battlefield to clean. I shoved him out of my way and walked past. That did it. He grabbed my arm, screaming, I sent Song Chun to your house that night. He never came back. Who else could it be? You're coming with me to see General Pan Feng. I'll have you executed as an example. But the soldiers had other ideas. Without a single word, every defender on that wall closed in around Wang Eru. A wall of bodies, silent, unmoving. Nobody touched him. They just surrounded him. Wouldn't let him leave. These guys knew the truth. I saved their lives today. Without me, this wall falls and they're all corpses. I was their insurance policy for the next attack. They weren't about to let some petty officer drag me away. Wang Eru looked like he was about to have a stroke. What is this? Mutiny? I am your commanding officer. Anyone who blocks me will face military. Wang Eru, quite the authority you've got there. A voice like a bronze bell cut through everything. The crowd parted instantly, opening a wide path. General Pan Feng strode through with both 1,000-man commanders flanking him. General, I believe Song Chun's disappearance wasn't desertion, It was Lin Feng who, smack. Pan Feng's open palm connected with Wang Eru's face. A sixth-rank warrior's slap. Wang Eru's head spun like a top, and he stood there wobbling for a good 10 seconds before his eyes refocused. You fool. The battle just ended. Instead of tending to wounded soldiers, you're harassing the man who killed the most enemies today? What is wrong with you? Pan Feng had seen everything from the command post. The eastern wall held because of me. 80% of the enemy kills on this section were mine. Even if I had killed Song Chun and his goons, so what? A few Class A thugs versus the hero who saved 1,000 lives? Easy math. He snatched the battered, chipped saber from my hand and smiled. A fine horse deserves a fine saddle. This piece of junk is an insult to someone with your talent. Then he unsheathed his own saber from his waist and placed it in my hands. This is Dragon's Cry. The Emperor himself bestowed it upon me when I was honored in the capital for defending Yin Pass. He paused for effect. Earth-grade divine weapon. It's yours now. The crowd erupted. Weapons in this world were ranked. Yellow, mystic, earth, heaven, desolate, primordial, cosmos, universe, emperor, and supreme. Most soldiers couldn't even dream of owning a yellow-grade weapon. They fought with unranked iron garbage. An earth-grade weapon was the stuff of legends for common soldiers. Something you'd die happy owning. And Pan Feng just handed one to a private. I tried to be humble. General, I'm just a bottom-rank soldier. Isn't this a bit above my station? Pan Feng laughed. Military ranks are for scaring ordinary people. They don't scare real warriors. I saw what you did today. This blade is honored to be held by you. I bowed deeply. I'll kill every enemy that comes near these walls, General. You have my word. Pan Feng turned to address every soldier present. You all saw what happened today. Fight bravely, and everything you want. Rank, pay, weapons. I'll give you all of it. I only need one thing from you. Hold this city until reinforcements arrive. The city stands while we stand. 3,000 throats roared back. The city stands while we stand. The city falls when we fall. Pan Feng left, satisfied. The 1,000-man commander Wu Chuang stayed behind to relay orders. All 100-man commanders to the command tent for strategy meeting. Wang Eru started to leave, then stomped back over to me one more time. Don't think a fancy saber makes you untouchable, he hissed. The second I find proof you killed Song Chun, I will yind you. I looked him dead in the eye and smiled. Sure thing, Commander. I'll be right here. He stormed off after Wu Chuang, teeth grinding loud enough to hear. I found a shady spot against the wall and sat down. The adrenaline was wearing off and my chest was killing me. I pulled open my shirt. A massive purple bruise spread across my ribs from where the Bloodwolf commander had launched me into the wall. Fourth-rank warriors are no joke, I muttered. Then I drew Dragon's Cry from its sheath. Shing! A sharp, clear ring echoed through the air, like an actual dragon crying out. One casual swing, and I felt wind pressure trail the blade. I brought it down on a boulder in front of me. The rock split clean in half. Holy crap! Compared to this thing, the standard-issue military sabers were literal scrap metal. I could feel it resonating with the energy in my dantian, amplifying my power output with every swing. Like having a turbocharger installed on my martial arts. With this weapon, if I ran into that Blood Wolf 1,000-man commander again, he's dead meat. Jiang, he brought me a bowl of hot meat porridge. Wartime rations were actually decent. The army cooks new soldiers needed fuel. Here, boss. Get your strength back. Good kid. No talent for fighting, but loyal as a golden retriever. If I ever made it big, I'd take care of him. I took one sip of porridge, and my stomach nearly turned inside out. I barely kept it down. You okay? Fine, fine. Just tired. I waved him off. Bloodwolf army got their teeth kicked in today, but they'll be back tomorrow. Get some sleep. He passed out next to me within seconds. I wiped my mouth. Blood. On my hand. Internal injuries. That fourth-rank commander's hits had done real damage. At this rate, I wouldn't be able to stand up tomorrow, let alone fight. System. Got anything for internal injuries? Ding. Earth-grade, Great Restoration Pill. Heals internal damage completely. Cost. 50,000 slaughter points. Of course it does. Ding. Since host fought so bravely, this loan comes with 0 interest. Special promotion. 0 interest? How generous. But I still have to pay it back, don't I? You think I can't see the game? Get me addicted to borrowing, and I'm your wage slave forever. You sneaky little ding. Without the Great Restoration pill, host condition will deteriorate rapidly. Re-entering combat in current state equals very likely to die. Fine. Give me the stupid pill. Ding. 50,000 points borrowed. Total debt, 190,500 slaughter points. Monthly borrowing limit reached. Perfect. Nearly died today, and my debt almost doubled. I started this battle owing 137,500. Now I owe 190,500. War is profitable for everyone except me apparently. The pill materialized in my hand. It was spiral-shaped, like a tiny white turd. I am 100% certain the system made it look like that on purpose. Ding. Please consume quickly before you expire. I plugged my nose and swallowed it. Actually tasted pretty good, like mint chocolate. Huh. Warmth flooded through my body instantly. The crushing chest pain, the internal bleeding, the cracked ribs, all of it vanished in a single breath. Like it never happened. This stuff is amazing. So if I fight a 5th or 6th rank warrior and get wrecked, I can just pop another one and, ding. System warning, do not be reckless. The Great Restoration pill repairs moderate injuries. Fatal wounds are still fatal. Pill cannot resurrect the dead. Cold sweat. Good thing I asked before trying. I leaned against the wall and let my mind drift to Kaiwei. Her face. Her smile. That little pout she does when she's pretending to be mad. Hang in there, wifey. After this battle, I'm getting at least 100-man commander. Maybe 1,000-man commander. Either way, you're getting gold jewelry and a big house and servants who bow and call you Madam. I drifted off to sleep. Dreamed about a beautiful mansion, a courtyard full of servants, everyone greeting Kaiwei like royalty. Wah! War horns ripped me out of the dream. They're attacking again. Jiang Yi was shaking my shoulder. These barbarians aren't human. After yesterday's massacre they're back? I stood up, brushed off the dust, and looked out. My blood ran cold. This wasn't yesterday's attack. The entire vanguard was 3rd-rank warriors. Behind them, 2 4th-rank 1,000-man commanders, including my old friend from last night. And in the center, their 7th-rank supreme commander, surrounded by multiple 4th-rank bodyguards. So much for my brilliant sneak attack their camp idea. That would have been suicide, not strategy. They brought the catapults too, Jiang Yi gulped. We've got less than 2,000 men left. This is going to be ugly. It was ugly. But I couldn't show fear. To these soldiers, I was their god. If I flinched, the whole wall crumbled. Listen up, brothers. Stay sharp, watch for boulders, and remember, these barbarians are just brainless savages. Great Zhou will win. Great Zhou will win. Great Zhou will win. I drew my bow and went to work. Now upgraded to 4th rank. My soul-chasing arrow art had leveled up too. Instead of piercing 3 enemies per shot, I could now skewer 5. And the vanguard was all 3rd-rank warriors. 300 points each instead of 200. Ding. Killed Blood Wolf elite member, 3rd-rank warrior. 300. Ding. 300. Ding. 300. Ding. 300. The soldiers watching 3rd-rank warriors drop like flies from my arrows went from terrified to electric. Brother Feng is unstoppable. Meanwhile, in a dark corner of the wall, Wang Eru was watching me with murder in his eyes. One of his lackeys crept up to him with a dark purple bow, a mystic-grade heavy bow from the armory. Top-shelf equipment, powerful enough that even a 3rd-rank warrior couldn't block its arrows. Wang Eru tested it, fired 1 shot at a Bloodwolf soldier, and punched clean through a 3rd-rank enemy. Satisfied, he gathered 7 or 8 of his most trusted men. Listen carefully. When the Bloodwolf troops reach the wall, I want you to pretend you can't hold them. Open a gap in our defense. Let them through. His men stared at him in shock. We were fighting for our lives, and this lunatic was planning to deliberately break our own defensive line? This wasn't about Song Chun anymore. This wasn't jealousy. Wang Eru was planning to get me killed by the enemy's own hands. That night, I sat in my courtyard staring at the moon, trying to untangle the mess in my head. I'd been promoted to garrison commander, but chose to stay. In the old 1,000-man commander's residence, instead of moving into the fancy commander's mansion, I wanted to leave that for General Pan Feng if he ever came back. Plus, Jiang Yi, Wang Meng, and my other guys all lived nearby, so it was more convenient. Something about today's incident with the county magistrate Lu Hong and that sneaky sheriff Zhang Tianlang was eating at me. Zhang Tianlang had come back from barbarian territory in disguise. When we caught him, he panicked. Then Lu Hong conveniently showed up to defuse the situation. The wooden box we confiscated felt like a decoy. Something bigger was going on. Kai Wei came up behind me with a thick cloak. "It's getting cold, husband." She stood on her tiptoes to drape it over my shoulders, then walked around front to fasten it. She could read me like a book. "What's wrong?" "Something happened at camp. Here's the thing about my wife. She's not just pretty. She's a straight-up genius strategist." So I told her everything. She blinked those big eyes at me. "You think the box was a distraction, and whatever Zhang Tianlang really brought back was something else entirely?" I nodded miserably. "I should have searched him on the spot. I got careless." She laughed. "Why is she laughing?" "Husband, you're overthinking this. It doesn't matter what was in the box. The fact that Lu Hong sent someone to the barbarians means he's probably a traitor. Stop obsessing over what he smuggled and start preparing for the worst." She was right. I'd been so fixated on the mystery that I forgot the obvious. "So should I have the county office watched?" "No. If Lu Hong catches you spying on him without proof, he'll file a complaint with the Ministry of War. General Yin already stuck his neck out to promote you. Don't give him more headaches." Wrong again? Was my brain really this slow compared to hers? "Think, husband. Why did Zhang Tianlang not have his transit pass today? Why did that cause the whole argument?" "Because he gave it to someone else." I slapped my thigh so hard it echoed. Then I grabbed her face and kissed her. "You're a genius. A living, breathing Zhuge Liang." She wiped my drool off her cheek and glared at me. "I'm not done yet." "Sorry." "Continue. If they're conspiring with the barbarians, they need communication, someone going back and forth. So station your men at the border checkpoints. When someone shows up with that transit pass, don't arrest them. Follow them. See who they contact, what they're planning. Then everything falls into place." I picked her up and spun her in circles. "Put me down." "I'm still not finished." I set her down. She straightened her clothes with great dignity. "There's an even simpler test. Watch whether the county office starts cutting or withholding military supplies and pay. If they do, Lu Hong is definitely planning something." I stared at my wife in genuine awe. This wasn't just clever. This was military-grade strategic thinking. Multiple contingencies, information gathering without tipping off the enemy, identifying the simplest verification method. "Wifey, if you were a man, I'd make you my chief strategist on the spot." She smirked. "You'd have to pay me more than what you're giving me now. I already hand you my entire salary. What more do you want?" "Well then." I grinned and pulled her close by the waist, staring into those beautiful mismatched eyes. "I guess I'll have to pay you." "In other ways." Her face went crimson. She tried to run. Too slow. I scooped her up from behind. "Payment starts now, Madam Strategist." One kiss led to another. Hands wandered to places that made her bury her face in my chest, and after a breathless moment, she whispered in my ear, "Bedroom." Huh. She could outsmart me in strategy all day long, but in this arena? Still wrapped around my finger. I carried her to bed with the biggest grin on my face. The sounds that followed were educational. Over the next few days, I led patrols through the military buffer zone several times. No sign of barbarian activity. It almost seemed like they'd really given up on our border. But I wasn't fooled. After the beating we gave them at Woolly City, the barbarians weren't the type to just walk away. This calm was the kind that came before a hurricane. I kept training the troops hard. The 1,000-man commanders recruited new soldiers from surrounding areas. I even deployed some 100-man commanders to establish outposts around Yen Pass, partly to grow our forces, partly as early warning systems. Then one afternoon, I was in the command tent discussing training with Su Chong and the others when Jiang Yi burst through the entrance like a man on fire. "Jiang Yi, you're a 1,000-man commander now. Have some dignity." He was bent over, gasping for air, but looked up at me with panic in his eyes. "Boss, something happened." A big round table in the command tent, loaded with food and wine. The star dish? Roasted barbarian warlion meat. Nothing says, "We crushed the enemy," quite like eating their mascot animal. I stood up with Wang Ming and raised our cups to the marquis. "My lord, if you hadn't given us those precious pills, Wang Ming and I would both be dead. This drink is for you." Zhang Qingtsang smiled and stood up too. "Those pills are valuable, sure. But compared to warriors who fight for our empire, worthless. I'll drink with you, not for the pills, but for all the great things you two will accomplish in the future." We downed our cups. Every 1,000-man commander at the table was practically vibrating with excitement. Sharing drinks with the legendary Marquis of Wasteland? That's a story they'd tell their grandchildren. Everyone took turns toasting him. He accepted every single one without a hint of arrogance. Being a Grandmaster Realm warrior apparently came with an infinite alcohol tolerance. The man could drink 1,000 cups and not even blink. After the third round of drinks, I figured it was time to address the elephant in the room. My lord, you know about County Magistrate Lu Hong, right? Better to confess than get caught later. And judging by the fact that the Marquis had personally saved my life, I figured he wouldn't be too mad. Zhang Qingsong gave me a look that said, "I see right through you, kid." "Oh, you mean the county officials who were tragically killed by barbarian raiders?" "Yes, very sad. Very unfortunate. Lin Feng, make sure you give them a proper funeral." Everyone at the table froze. His own bodyguards looked like they'd swallowed lemons. The Marquis was covering up my murder of a county magistrate with the thinnest excuse in history, delivered with a straight face. His guards were thinking, this is way too much favoritism. He's not even scolding the kid. At this rate, Lin Feng's going to think he can get away with anything. He killed a government official today. What happens when he gets to the capital and some bureaucrat annoys him? Valid concerns, honestly. Absolutely, my lord. Proper funeral, top priority, I said, quickly placing a piece of lion meat in his bowl. Please try our local specialty, braised lion. He took 2 bites, and before he could compliment the chef, I pounced. My lord, I have to be honest. The county office has been strangling our military funding for months. We couldn't even get our pay on time. That's the only reason I risked my life for that 3,000 gold. Zhang Qingsong saw right through my act. He'd already investigated me thoroughly. I wasn't corrupt. I took care of the common people and never pocketed a coin. But I'd absolutely shaken down every wealthy merchant in town. Our military treasury could equip 10,000 soldiers at this point. And I was still crying poor? He set down his chopsticks. Just tell me what you want. I grinned. You truly understand me, my lord. Mother gave me life, but the Marquis gives me understanding. Stop kissing up. Well, what if we just didn't replace the county magistrate? Have military supplies sent directly to us. Cut out the middleman. His expression hardened. Too far. The dual civil-military governance system is written into imperial law. Even I can't change that. He paused. But I can guarantee the next magistrate will deliver your supplies on time and in full. Satisfied, I raised my cup instantly. Absolutely, my lord. Whatever you say, he snorted. As if I'd actually behave. He was probably already planning to send someone loyal to him as the next magistrate. Because if another Lu Hong showed up, I'd definitely find a way to, accidentally, get them killed by barbarians too. Then his expression shifted to something serious. Really serious. Lin Feng, would you dare come to the capital with me? Meet the Ministry of War officials. Perhaps even have an audience with the Emperor. Meet the Emperor? My brain short-circuited. Was he trying to give me a desk job in the capital? My head shook so fast it nearly flew off my neck. My lord, please no. I just want to guard the border. I have zero interest in being a capital bureaucrat. And the Emperor is busy. Why would he waste time meeting a tiny garrison commander? Insolent. One of the bodyguards barked. Yan Nantian jumped in to smooth things over, then leaned close and whispered, "You idiot. The Marquis is assembling forces for a counterattack against the barbarians. He's going to the capital to convince the peace faction, and he wants to present you as proof that the barbarians are a real threat." He paused for maximum dramatic effect. He's planning to recommend you as the vanguard commander for the northern invasion. I pointed at myself, jaw on the floor. Me? I was a tiny 6th-rank garrison commander, leading the vanguard of an entire invasion force? I hadn't even dreamed that big. The Marquis sipped his wine casually. What? You don't have the guts? I shot to my feet so fast he flinched. Then I dropped to one knee. My lord, if you're sending me to the capital to sit behind a desk, I wouldn't go even if you made me a general. But if you want me to lead the charge against the barbarians, I, Lin Feng, accept without hesitation. If I so much as frown, I don't deserve to call myself a man. Zhang Qingsong burst out laughing, pulled me to my feet, and nodded with deep satisfaction. Good kid. I knew I wasn't wrong about you. Get ready. In 2 weeks, you're coming to the capital with me. And remember one thing. You can only serve your country better from a higher position. Lin Feng, I surrender. I give up. Please don't kill me. Wang Eru was on the ground, begging like a dog. The same guy who used to strut around camp like he owned the world. Song Chun and those guys deserve to die? It had nothing to do with me. I'll give you my 100-man commander position. No, wait. I'll recommend you for 1,000-man commander. I almost laughed. This was the terrifying boss everyone feared. Pathetic. Serving under a coward like this had been the real insult. Then I noticed his fingers tightening around his saber. A flicker of cunning in his eyes. Lin Feng, behind you. Classic trick. I turned my head just slightly, and Wang Eru lunged, driving his blade straight at my gut. One slash of Dragon's Cry. His saber split in two. A thin red line appeared across his chest. Then his upper body separated from his lower half and hit the ground in a mess of blood and organs. The mighty 100-man commander Wang Eru dead. Finally. Unfortunately, a few of his loyal cronies saw the whole thing from a distance. And when General Pan Feng arrived on the battlefield with his personal guards, they ran straight to him. General, Lin Feng has turned traitor. He's working with the Blood Wolf army. He murdered Commander Wang. We saw it with our own eyes. He's betrayed the country. With Wang Eru dead, these rats figured their only survival play was to accuse me first. I walked up to Pan Feng, Dragon's Cry still dripping. His bodyguards immediately formed a wall in front of him. Lin Feng killed 100-man Commander Wang with his own hands. What do you have to say for yourself? I shrugged. He deserved it. As for betraying the country? Absolutely not. They started screaming insults at me. I'd killed a superior officer. Technically, that's insubordination no matter the reason. Then Pan Feng glanced at Wang Eru's remains, shoved his own bodyguards aside, and stepped toward me. General, be careful. Careful of what? This man has killed close to 1,000 Blood Wolf soldiers in the past few days. You think someone like that is a traitor? Did you people lose your minds? Everyone shut up real fast. Pan Feng slammed his massive battle axe into the ground. 6th rank warrior pressure crushed the air. Lin Feng, explain. One lie and I take your head. I surveyed the chaos around us. Enemies everywhere. Defenders falling. No time for long stories. General, you said you trust me. Then trust me now. The full explanation will take too long. Let's kill the enemy first and talk later. Wang Eru's cronies started shouting that I was just making excuses. Shut up, Pan Feng roared. Lin Feng is right. Everyone, follow me into battle. Anyone who retreats dies. And just like that, we charged into the enemy together. The Blood Wolf troops were endless, like locusts pouring over the walls. Our numbers shrank by the minute. Even Pan Feng and his guards got surrounded. Pan Feng bellowed and swung his axe in a massive arc, sending a dozen Blood Wolf elites flying. Then an arrow punched through his shoulder. He gritted through the pain. It was one of the enemy's 4th-rank 1,000-man commanders. Normally, Pan Feng could handle 10 4th-rank warriors without breaking a sweat. But after 5 days and nights of near-continuous fighting with barely any rest, even a 6th-rank body had limits. I caught him as he stumbled. General, you're wounded. Just a little hole from a barbarian arrow. I'll live. He hefted his axe again and screamed at the enemy. Come on then. Grandpa's got snacks for all of you. We were down to a handful, me, Pan Feng, and a few surviving guards. But his war cry lit a fire in everyone still standing. We plunged back into the horde. Somehow, and I still can't fully explain it, our tiny squad cut through the enemy like a hot knife through butter. We fought our way through the breach and pushed them all the way back out the east gate. Bodies piled up along the entire route. Pan Feng personally axed one of their 1,000-man commanders into the dirt. He wanted to keep chasing. I grabbed his arm. General, don't chase a cornered army. He snapped out of his battle rage, hacked off the dead commander's head almost as an afterthought, and hurled it 50 meters through the air. Then he turned toward the retreating Blood Wolf army and roared. Anyone else want some? As long as Pan Feng guards this city, none of you are leaving alive. We strolled back through the gates like we'd just been out for a walk. The remaining defenders went absolutely wild. Back on the wall, Pan Feng ordered hot food for the troops and had Deputy Commander Su Chong count our losses. General, 1,000-man Commander Wu Chuang is dead. 1,000-man Commander Hu Lai lost an arm. He can't fight anymore. Only 400-man commanders remain. Less than 100 Class A soldiers. Out of 3,000 defenders, barely 300 were left standing. Pan Feng's face turned to stone. 5 days and nights of hellish combat had ground our garrison down to nearly nothing. The Blood Wolf army had paid heavily too, but they still had over 2,000 fighters. And the scariest part? Their 7th-rank Supreme Commander hadn't even entered the battle yet. If he personally led the next assault, Yin Pass was finished. Pan Feng slumped against the wall, laughing bitterly at the sky. Is heaven trying to destroy Yin Pass? I've failed. 20 years of military service, starting from the same bottom-rank private I used to be. The man had seen more death than a cemetery groundskeeper. He wasn't afraid to die, but losing the city? That meant failing General Yin Nanshan's orders and watching the barbarians massacre every civilian in town out of revenge. He'd never rest in peace. He put his hand on my shoulder with a fatherly look. Kid, we've got maybe 200 soldiers left. Next attack, we're done. You're young, talented, barely started your career. Dying here is a waste. Get out. Consider yourself the last seed of Yin Pass. Go kill barbarians for me later. And if I ever catch you being a coward, even from the grave, I'll haunt you. Yeah, no, I wasn't leaving. No matter what he said, I wasn't budging. He got furious, tried to stand up using his battle axe as a crutch, and screamed at me. I asked that, an order you're ignoring, boy. I thought for a moment, then bowed. General, don't give up yet. We have a fresh force we haven't used. His eyes snapped to attention. Fresh force? Where? The county jail, death row inmates. Exactly. These guys are scheduled for execution anyway. Give them a chance to fight for their lives, and they'll go absolutely berserk on the battlefield. Plus, half of them are bandits and rogue warriors, actual fighters with real combat skills. Deputy Commander Su Chong backed me up. General, I've been dealing with the county office for years. There are roughly 800 prisoners in the county jail. Even as cannon fodder, that's a significant force. 800. Pan Feng's eyes lit up like lanterns. All those years of hunting bandits and locking up criminals was finally paying off in the most unexpected way. With 800 men, I can fight those barbarians head-on. He pulled out the official Yin Pass military seal and shoved it into my hands. Take this to the county jail and get those prisoners. If that old fox Lu Hong tries to stop you, smash his skull with this seal. I laughed. General, I've been waiting for you to say that. Su Chong grabbed my arm before I left. Lin Feng, Lu Hong is still the county magistrate. You're carrying Pan Feng's authority. Please, try diplomacy first. Don't actually smash anyone's skull. Relax, I've got this. Jiang Yi brought 2 horses. We mounted up and rode for the county at full gallop. By the time we reached the jail, it was evening. I jumped off my horse and headed straight for the prison entrance. Several guards with beating sticks blocked my path. Halt! Who dares approach the prison? Before I could flash the seal, a horribly familiar voice rang out. Well, well, well. What a small world, Lu Long. The county magistrate's spoiled brat son. The same guy whose arm I dislocated in the market. Standing there with a squad of beefy guards, looking at me like a cat who'd cornered a mouse. Shouldn't you be on the walls fighting? Don't tell me you deserted. He was practically licking his lips. A deserter could be executed on the spot, without even asking General Pan Feng. He wouldn't even need permission to kill me. Arrest him. After the battle, execute him with the death row prisoners. His guards surrounded us with their sticks raised. Jiang Yi stepped forward before I could speak. How dare you? Do you know who this is? He's General Pan Feng's special envoy. Here too. Lu Long burst out laughing. Envoy? This bottom-rank nobody. That's the funniest thing I've heard all week. Even if the army was down to their last man, they wouldn't send you 2 losers as envoys. He'd done his homework on me. Knew I was a private. Figured the general who guards the north helping me was just a coincidence. In his mind, I was still a nobody. Drop the act. You're not on the battlefield. You're here. That makes you deserters. Now choose. Do I beat you senseless then throw you in jail? Or do you walk in nicely? He had 200 guards protecting the county office and jail. 2 soldiers versus 200. In his mind, easy math. That's when I calmly pulled the tiger seal from my sleeve. The tiger seal of Yin Pass. Recognize it. Lu Long's smug face froze. The seal was unmistakable, carved with ancient characters, radiating authority. You couldn't fake one of these. Pan Feng actually gave his seal to this guy? After a long pause, he narrowed his eyes. Fine. What do you want at the jail? You're not planning to drag our guards to the front lines as cannon fodder, are you? General Pan Feng may command the military, but he has no jurisdiction over the county office. Our guards exist to protect the magistrate and the citizens, not to fight on your walls. Same old entitled brat, different day. But this time, I had a tiger in my pocket and 800 prisoners to collect. Looking at Lu Long acting all righteous while being completely selfish made my stomach turn. He didn't care about laws or duty. He just wanted those prisoners as his personal escape squad when the city fell. I don't want your useless guards. I want the 800 death row prisoners in that jail. Lu Long's eyes flickered. He'd just realized those prisoners included some serious fighters. In his mind, the city was doomed anyway. If he kept those prisoners and promised them freedom, they could protect his family during the escape. No way was he handing them over to me. These are convicted criminals. Without imperial orders, I can't release them. It's the law. Jiang Yi nearly exploded. Our brothers are dying by the hundreds on those walls, and you won't release prisoners who are already scheduled to die. What are you going to do about it? Lu Long sneered. Pan Feng's orders don't reach inside My County office. He waved his hand. Anyone who trespasses on the prison, kill them. 200 guards drew their sabers and closed in. I sighed. Then I drew Dragon's Cry. One swing. 6 guards. Cut clean in half. Organs and intestines spilling everywhere like a butcher shop explosion. Lu Long's face went from smug to ghost white in about half a second. He looked like he was about to throw up his breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He actually killed county guards? Every remaining guard stumbled backward. Not a single one stepped forward again. You dare kill county officers? This is treason, Lu Long stammered. You're the traitor, I warned. The battle is at a critical moment. General Pan Feng's military orders are the highest authority in Yin Pass right now. Open that jail and release the 800 prisoners, or the next body on this ground is yours. The killing intent from Dragon's Cry made Lu Long's entire body go cold. But he was doing mental math. Without those prisoners, who would protect him and Daddy when the city fell? So he gambled. Bet that a lowly private wouldn't dare kill a county magistrate's son. Bad bet. He apparently forgot that I broke his arm in the street before I had any backing. Now I had the tiger seal of the garrison commander. Zero hesitation remaining. I walked toward him step by step. The entire guard force parted like the Red Sea. Lu Long was literally crawling backward on the ground. I raised Dragon's Cry over my head. Lu Long, your time is up. You wouldn't dare. I'm the county magistrate's son. County magistrate's son? Defy a military order during wartime, and I'd cut down the emperor's son, just as my blade was about to fall. Stop. County Magistrate Lu Hong and Deputy Commander Su Chong came rushing. Around the corner together. Su Chong looked at the scene. 6 dead guards, 200 more cowering, Lu Long crawling in his own tears, and wiped the sweat off his forehead. He'd specifically told me to use diplomacy. This was my version of diplomacy. But he understood. Extraordinary times called for extraordinary measures. Still, killing the magistrate's son would create a political nightmare. We needed Lu Hong's office to keep food and supplies flowing. Lu Hong was furious. Lin Feng, how dare you threaten my son? I am the magistrate of this county. If I don't teach you a lesson today, Lu Long clung to his daddy's leg, sobbing. Kill him, Dad. Kill him. Don't worry, son. Daddy's here. Lu Hong turned on Su Chong. Is this how your military operates? Lawless thugs murdering innocent people? You're no different from those barbarians. Su Chong paused thoughtfully, then looked at me. Lin Feng, did you show them the tiger seal before this happened? One glance between us, and I understood exactly what he was doing. Of course I did. Lu Long didn't care. Refused to comply no matter what I said. That's all Su Chong needed. He turned to the Lu family, face turning cold as iron. Then you can't blame Lin Feng, Magistrate Lu. Lu Hong blinked. Are you defending this maniac? Su Chong held up the tiger seal. This seal represents General Pan Feng and the entire Yin Pass military. Under Great Zhou's wartime law, once battle is engaged, the garrison commander becomes the supreme authority, military and civil. His orders override everything. He let that sink in. Your son refused to comply with a direct wartime military order. Under the law, that is equivalent to aiding the enemy. It is equivalent to treason. Those 8 words, aiding the enemy, treason, hit Lu Hong like a bucket of ice water. The county magistrates stood there sweating buckets, unable to speak for a solid minute. Finally, he turned on his son. Lu Long, is what the deputy commander said true? Lu Long started whimpering. Dad, they wanted the 800 prisoners. I was just, slap. Lu Hong's palm nearly took his son's head off. The old fox understood instantly what his idiot boy apparently couldn't. The city was about to fall. Military orders were basically holy scripture right now, and his magistrate's hat wouldn't protect his neck from Pan Feng's battle axe. You want prisoners? Take them. We're done here. Lu Hong forced a smile at me through gritted teeth. On any normal day, he wouldn't even look at a private like me. Today he was practically bowing. Smart choice. Open the jail. Now. Anyone who delays even 1 second gets my blade. Lu Hong personally escorted us into the death row prison. The stench hit me like a physical wall. Rotten food, unwashed bodies, human waste. My eyes watered. The cells were packed with the worst criminals in the region. Murderers, bandits, psychopaths. Every face was meaner than the last. From the biggest cell, a massive man stepped forward. Tall, muscular, covered in knife scars, wearing rags. The other prisoners immediately cleared a path for him like he was royalty. Visitors? Let me guess. The battle's going badly and you're worried we'll riot. So you're here to execute us early? The jailer whispered to me. Sir, this is Hua Yidao, 1/Hua. Biggest bandit lord in the Yin Pass region. Third-rank warrior. Killed dozens of people. Perfect. Exactly the kind of psycho I needed. I raised my voice so every prisoner could hear. Listen up, you worthless scum. You're all dead men walking anyway. General Pan Feng is giving you one chance to save your pathetic lives. Follow me to the battlefield. Kill 1 enemy. Your death sentence is commuted. Kill 3, and all charges are dropped. The prison erupted. These guys had been counting down the days until their executions. Suddenly, there was a lifeline. The excitement was electric. Deputy Commander Su Chong shot me a look. Pan Feng had not actually authorized those specific terms. But he kept quiet. He could see I knew how to handle this. Then Hua Yidao laughed coldly. So you want us to be your cannon fodder? Just say it straight. You want us to fight and die for you. Fine, bring money. Bring women. Otherwise Grandpa here isn't moving an INCH. I didn't flinch. You're death row prisoners trying to negotiate terms with me? Here's my only offer. Want to live? Follow me. Don't want to live? I'll execute you right now. On the spot. No waiting. Every loud mouth in the prison went silent. Hua Yidao stared me down for a long moment. Then he shrugged. Fine. You win. We're dead either way. At least on the battlefield there's a chance. Let's go. I drew Dragon's Cry and sliced through the cell door like paper. We marched outside and I ordered the jailer to remove everyone's chains. Su Chong pulled me aside nervously. Lin Feng, some of these men are 2nd and 3rd rank warriors. 800 unchained criminals. What if I can let them out, I can put them down. Besides, we're about to hand them weapons anyway. Worrying now is pointless. He couldn't argue with that logic. We started marching the 800 prisoners toward the city walls. We'd gotten about halfway when the trouble started. Hey, where's the food? I'm starving. Yeah. If we're gonna die, at least let us die with full bellies. I want meat. I want wine. No food. No walking. Jiang Yi tried the diplomatic approach. Everyone calm down. There's plenty of food at the garrison. They completely ignored him. I'm so hungry my stomach is eating itself. I ain't walking another step. Hey soldier boy, where's the nearest brothel? Let the boys have some fun first, and we'll fight real good for you. I raised one hand. Everyone stopped. I knew exactly what was happening. The chains were off. They had numbers, and some of them were calculating their odds of just running. If I didn't establish dominance right now, I'd never get these animals to the battlefield. They'd scatter like cockroaches. Every eye was on me. Most of them looked like they wanted to tear me apart. Several prisoners had already picked up rocks from the roadside. Then Hua Yidao stepped out from the crowd with a handful of his toughest fighters behind him. All of them sporting the kind of grins that said, "We've decided you're not in charge anymore." Hua Yidao. What exactly are you planning? I asked, narrowing my eyes. He just grinned wider, not a shred of respect in his expression. Pure challenge. 800 violent criminals, unchained, armed with rocks, being led by a 3rd-rank bandit lord who just decided to test me. Time to remind everyone who's holding the real weapon here. Sir, it's not that I want trouble, Hua Yidao said with fake politeness. But the boys have their demands. If you can't satisfy them, we'll just go our separate ways. No hard feelings, though. We'll always remember you saved our lives. Yeah, we'll remember. The crowd roared. Su Chong grabbed his sword hilt. Jiang Yi went stiff as a board. 800 unchained criminals on the edge of rioting versus 3 of us. The math was not in our favor. I laughed. Loud. Hoi Dao, have you forgotten what you are? You're death row prisoners. Garbage. Scum who deserve to die? I'm offering you life, and you're choosing death. Anyone who tries to run, executed on the spot as a deserter, didn't work. These guys were career criminals. They'd been rotting in cells for months, and now they were unchained under open sky. Why would they voluntarily march to a battlefield? Hoi Dao eyed my dragon's cry saber nervously, but his third-rank pride won out over his common sense. Tell you what, soldier boy, beat me in a bare-handed fight, and every man here follows you. No complaints. We'll die on that battlefield without a single regret. What he actually meant was, put down your weapon so I can jump you, and we can all escape. Su Chong drew his sword. How dare you negotiate? I'll turn every last one of you into ground meat. I pushed his arm down. Then I handed Dragon's Cry to Jiang Yi. Lin Feng, don't. Hoi Dao is a notorious killer. You can't. Relax. I want to play. I cracked my neck, rolled my shoulders, and stepped forward. Let's go, Hoi Dao. He didn't hesitate. Third-rank power exploded from his body, and he threw a punch that could have shattered a boulder, aimed straight at my face. 1 second later, the entire crowd went dead silent. Hoi Dao was frozen mid-swing, mouth full of blood, eyes bulging like a fish. Couldn't even speak. Then he toppled like a felled tree and slammed into the dirt. Everyone looked at my hand. I was holding a heart, still beating. Hoi Dao's chest had a hole where that heart used to be. Blood bubbled out like a little creek. I dropped the heart on the ground and crushed it under my boot. Trash. 800 hardened criminals, murderers, bandits, psychopaths who'd collectively killed hundreds of people, stood there shaking like leaves in a hurricane. I just ripped out a third-rank warrior's heart with my bare hands. Anyone else? One prisoner dropped to his knees. Then another. Then 10 more. Then all of them. 800 men on their knees in the dirt, heads bowed, completely and utterly conquered. Su Chong's jaw was somewhere near his ankles. Everyone on your feet. Double time to the city walls. Anyone who slacks, dies. They ran like the wind. Not a single complaint. Not a whisper. 800 death row convicts sprinting toward a war zone like their lives depended on it. Which, technically, they did. I glanced down at Hoi Dao's body. Third-rank warrior. What a waste. I needed to kill the chicken to scare the monkeys, and you just had to volunteer as the chicken. We made it back to the garrison in under half an hour. I split the prisoners into 4 groups of 200, one for each wall, under the surviving 100-man commanders. They'd be frontline cannon fodder, first into the fight, and nobody would shed a tear over casualties. Then Su Chong and I rushed to the command tent. Pan Feng tried to stand up to greet us, got too excited, and coughed up blood. General, sit down. He waved it off like a man brushing away a fly. I'm fine. 6-rank warrior, remember? This is nothing. Did you get the prisoners? All 799 of them. One third-rank idiot refused to cooperate, so I had to put him down. The rest are deployed across all 4 walls. Pan Feng slapped my shoulder hard enough to rattle my teeth. Huh. I knew I picked the right man. I sent Su Chong after you because I was worried, but clearly I didn't need to. I deflected smoothly. Deputy Commander Su was a huge help, actually. Without him handling the legal side, I couldn't have pulled it off. Su Chong beamed. Smart kid knows how to share credit. That's a leader. You both did great, Pan Feng declared. If we survive this, I'm personally recommending you both for commendations. General, I don't need rewards. I just want to fight alongside you and protect our home. Pan Feng's tough old eyes went a little misty. If every soldier in Great Zhou was like this kid, then I brought up the question that had been gnawing at me. General, how many more days do we have to hold? 800 prisoners would buy us some time, but it was a band-aid on a severed arm. Without reinforcements, we were still dead. Pan Feng sighed. Today is day 8. 3 more days, and the general who guards the north will arrive. He didn't sound convinced. Neither was I. By day 11, there might be nothing left to save. Lin Feng, you've been running yourself ragged. Go rest. The Blood Wolf army hasn't attacked. They're gathering strength for one final push. The worst is still coming. As I turned to leave, I heard him coughing behind me. Deep, wet, ugly coughs. The kind that meant his injuries were far worse than he was letting on. I stopped. System, one more great restoration pill. Buy now. Pay later. This one wasn't for me. Pan Feng was the pillar holding this entire defense together. If he collapsed, we all died. Ding. Confirmed. One great restoration pill delivered. Same stupid spiral shape. Whatever. I walked back and held it out to him. General, my master left me this healing pill. Take it. It'll restore your strength. He pushed my hand away. Too precious. Save it for yourself. General, you're the commander. If you fall, we're all headless chickens. Please. He finally relented, swallowed it, and the effect was immediate. Color flooded back into his face. His wounds started closing. He even felt a slight loosening in his martial arts bottleneck, something that had been stuck for years. Lin Feng, I owe you. If we survive this, anything you need, just name it. Just keep leading us, General. That's all I need. I walked out and checked my balance. System, what do I still owe? Ding. Remaining debt, 50,000 slaughter points. Not terrible, but pointless if I was dead tomorrow. Then the system dropped a surprise. Ding. System detected host killed a third-rank death row prisoner and secured 800 reinforcements, bringing hope to the garrison. Reward granted. Talent, upgraded to Earth grade. Constitution, upgraded to silver organs. Wait, what? A free upgrade? No loans? No interest? No printing fees? The system actually did something nice? Power surged through me instantly. My muscles, bones, and organs all transformed. I grabbed a broken arrow off the ground and stabbed it into my own arm as hard as I could. The arrow snapped. My skin didn't even dent. Silver Organ's constitution was absolutely insane. My body was basically armor now. And Earth-grade talent? The Slaughter Heaven Saber art, which had always felt like reading ancient poetry through fog, suddenly clicked into crystal clarity. 3 advanced techniques unlocked in my mind simultaneously. Tyrant Slaughter, Mountain Splitting Sea Cleave, Blood Slaughter Sunset. I didn't even need to practice them. I could feel their devastating power just sitting in my brain. At 4th rank, they were already terrifying. If I ever reached higher levels, 3 strikes, and even a fully healthy Pan Feng couldn't touch me. No time to practice anyway. When the barbarians came back, they'd be my training dummies. That Blood Wolf, 1,000-man commander, who almost killed me twice? Next time, he'd be the one backed into a corner. Then the war horns sounded again. I jumped to my feet and looked out over the plains. My heart stopped. At the front of the Blood Wolf formation rode a figure that made everything we'd faced so far look like a warm-up. A giant man in white wolf furs, nearly 3 meters tall, sitting on a war wolf twice the size of the others. Shoulders like mountain ridges. Ice blue eyes radiating killing intent, so thick the soldiers on our walls physically recoiled. The 7th-rank Supreme Commander. He'd finally come out to play. Pan Feng gritted his teeth so hard I heard them crack. Never fought a 7th rank before. Today's the day I find out what it's like. I scanned our forces. The veteran soldiers were grim but steady. They'd survived too much to panic now. But the death row prisoners were shaking in their boots. Time for another speech. I jumped onto the wall's edge and roared down at everyone. Scared? You think being scared will stop them from killing you? Fear just makes you die faster. If you're a man, grip your weapon and fight. When your arrows run out, use your blades. When your blades break, use your teeth. Pan Feng is here. This city will not fall. That did it. Every man on the wall, soldier and prisoner alike, snapped into focus. Bows drawn, stones ready, oil heated, determination locked in. Deputy Commander Su Chong appeared beside me, sword drawn, grinning like a man who'd made peace with death. Shouldn't you be in the rear coordinating logistics? I asked. He laughed. Coordinate what? This is the final stand. Everyone fights. If I die next to General Pan Feng, next to my brothers. That's a death worth having. I never expected the quiet, bookish deputy commander to have this kind of fire in him. I clasped his hand. You're right. Let's make it count. Then Pan Feng's voice thundered across the wall. Fire. Arrows rained down like a hailstorm. Blood Wolf soldiers dropped in waves. My soul-chasing arrow art was working overtime, mowing down everyone who touched our siege ladders. But these barbarians were done playing it safe. No shields, no caution, just pure suicidal charging. Wave after wave, throwing themselves at our walls like human battering rams. I could only cover one direction. Within half a day, The other 3 walls were overrun. General, West Wall has fallen. South Wall is breached. North Wall defenders are wiped out. We can't hold. Bad news piling up like corpses. Pan Feng's jaw clenched tighter with every report. A Blood Wolf 1,000-man commander leaped onto our wall riding a war wolf, charging straight at Pan Feng with a lance. The general had clearly had it. He swung his battle axe with so much fury that commander, wolf, and all turned into a pancake of meat on the stones. Su Chong was a blur of sword work. His blade danced like a dragon, cutting down 7 or 8 enemies in seconds. I didn't realize the quiet deputy commander had this in him. I unleashed Dragon's Cry with everything I had, hacking through elite soldiers and taking down another 1,000-man commander. The 3 of us were drenched head to toe in blood, and the barbarians actually stopped advancing for a moment, too scared to approach. 3 men, triangle formation, practically invincible. Then the final report came. General, our army is gone. The city can't be held. Pan Feng laughed, like a madman. Then he looked at Su Chong and me. Brothers, you afraid to die? Every surviving soldier roared. And oh, good. If we can't defend this city, then we attack. Charge out and slaughter every last one of them. Everyone's brain short-circuited. We were down to 100 soldiers, and he wanted to counterattack? I didn't wait for anyone to overthink it. I charged forward. Kill them all. Pan Feng and Su Chong exchanged a grin and followed. The 3 of us carved a bloody highway through the enemy, leaving a trail of blood wolf corpses behind us. The surviving soldiers saw us fighting like demons, and their morale exploded. They piled in after us. 100 broken remnants somehow pushed the entire blood wolf army back out of the city. The barbarians couldn't believe it either. Then he appeared. The blood wolf supreme commander dismounted from his massive white wolf. When his feet hit the ground, the earth shook. Close to 3 meters tall, shoulders like a mountain range. Ice blue eyes, carrying a bone club the size of a tree trunk. He pointed it at us. Impressive. Your names? Garrison Commander Pan Feng. 6th rank warrior, Deputy Commander Su Chong. 5th rank warrior, Private Lin Feng. 4th rank warrior. The Supreme Commander didn't blink at Pan Feng or Su Chong, but a private at 4th rank. His 1,000-man commander leaned over and whispered, "That's the archer. He killed nearly a third of our entire army." The commander's eyes narrowed. Today, all 3 of us were dying. No exceptions. Come, all of you. Together, Pan Feng went first, launching himself like a tiger with his signature technique, Snowflake Crown Strike, slamming his axe down with enough force to create a shockwave that knocked nearby Blood Wolf soldiers off their feet. Clang. The Supreme Commander blocked it one-handed. Didn't even move. Not bad. Surrender to us, and I'll make you my deputy. Surrender your grandmother. Pan Feng unleashed everything, sweeping 1,000 armies, overturning rivers and seas, technique after technique. The Supreme Commander blocked each one casually, then batted Pan Feng back 15 meters with a single counterstrike. General, I'm coming. Su Chong charged in, sword flashing. Together they attacked from 2 angles. Then Su Chong pulled his master move. His sword split into 2 blades mid-swing. One blade actually pierced the Supreme Commander's stomach. Every soldier on both sides gasped. But then the Supreme Commander flexed. The sword embedded in his flesh, just shattered into pieces. His body was so powerful it broke a weapon that was inside him. Su Chong stood there in shock, holding 2 broken hilts. Dual sword technique? Clever. But you picked the wrong opponent. A 7th rank warrior's body was basically made of steel. Su Chong's ultimate move, the one he'd probably been saving his entire career, just bounced off like a toy. We were in deep, deep trouble. The Supreme Commander swatted Su Chong like a fly. One swing of that bone club, and Su Chong went airborne, crashed into the dirt, blood pouring from his mouth. Deputy Commander, I rushed to catch him. I'm fine. I can still fight. He wiped the blood away and charged back in. The man knew. If the 3 of us went down, Yin Pass was finished forever. I gripped Dragon's Cry and held back. Waiting. The Supreme Commander saw through our plan immediately, let Pan Feng and Su Chong occupy him while I found an opening. But he didn't care. A 4th rank warrior sneaking up on a 7th rank? He thought it was a joke. Pan Feng and Su Chong were getting destroyed. Blood spraying from fresh wounds, bodies battered, but neither would quit. They kept pressing, kept swinging, kept buying me time. Then I saw it. The gap. I activated Slaughter Heaven's Saber Art, the new technique I'd just unlocked. My body moved like a ghost. Dragon's Cry screamed through the air and carved into the Supreme Commander's exposed back. For the first time, his smug expression cracked. The blade sliced open a half-meter gash, deep enough to show white bone. Thanks to my Earth-grade divine weapon combined with the upgraded saber technique, even a 7th-rank body couldn't fully resist. Now, Panfong roared, bringing his battle axe down on the commander's face with everything he had left. The Supreme Commander staggered. For one beautiful moment, victory seemed possible. Then his bone club whipped around and hit me square in the chest. It felt like getting hit by a mountain. I flew through the air like a kite with its string cut. Both sides rushed in. Our remnants dragged us 3 back behind the walls. The Bloodwolf troops pulled their wounded commander to safety. In the enemy camp, the Supreme Commander was surrounded by his officers, his back wound still bleeding heavily. When 1,000-man commander nervously suggested retreating because Great Zhou reinforcements were approaching, the Supreme Commander punched the man's head clean off his shoulders. Anyone else suggests retreat, dies. Continue the attack. After the city falls, kill everyone inside. Every man, woman, and child. I want this city turned to ASH. The war horns blew again. Inside the city, Pan Fong, Su Chong, and I were lying against the wall like 3 broken dolls. Couldn't even stand up. The sound of charging barbarians filled the air. Pan Fong smiled weakly. Not a bad run. Killed a lot of them. Worth it. That last slash of yours was beautiful, Lin Fong. Nearly skinned their commander alive. I laughed, too tired to care anymore. That's all thanks to Dragon's Cry, General. Shame such a good weapon's about to fall into barbarian hands. All I could think about was Kaiwei. Her face. Her smile. Those mismatched eyes. Kaiwei, I'm sorry. I can't grow old with you. Don't wait for me in this life. Next life, I'll find you first. Boom. The east gate shattered. Barbarian soldiers poured through like a flood. The 3 of us used our weapons as crutches and forced ourselves to stand. If we were dying on our feet. Then, hoofbeats. Thousands of them. Rolling like thunder from the horizon. Someone screamed, "Reinforcements!" The reinforcements are here. The Bloodwolf soldiers who'd been charging and suddenly froze. Then panicked. Then ran. I dragged myself to the gate and looked out. General Yin Nantian himself, leading a massive army. Cavalry sweeping across the field like an iron tidal wave, trampling through the enemy camp, crushing everything in their path. The Bloodwolf army had been fighting for days straight. They were exhausted, depleted, broken. A few charges from fresh troops, and it was over. Almost the entire barbarian force wiped out. Only a handful of 1,000-man commanders managed to drag their wounded Supreme Commander away. We won. Yin Nantian rode through the shattered gates and surveyed the ruins. Bodies everywhere. Walls crumbling. Blood staining every surface. Su Chong counted our survivors, including the ones missing arms and legs. 43 people. Out of 3,000. Pan Fong looked at Yin Nantian with tears streaming down his battle-scarred face. General, your orders are fulfilled. Yin Pass is still standing. Even the iron-willed Yin Nantian couldn't hold back tears. Give every fallen soldier a hero's burial. Gold compensation to every family. Build a memorial. Great Zhou will never forget what happened here today. Then his eyes found me, half dead and leaning on my saber. Kid, I knew I wasn't wrong about you. I coughed up blood and managed a bitter smile. General, if you'd been 5 minutes later, you wouldn't have been wrong about me. You just wouldn't have found me. His aide Yi Kai snapped. Watch your tongue. Yin Nantian waved him off. He's right. We were late. He walked over and steadied me himself. Tell me what you want. Anything. I'll make it happen. My chest burned. Another mouthful of blood came up. I looked at the old general through blurring vision. I want to go home. Then everything went black, and I collapsed into his arms. I woke up in a military medical tent with bandages wrapped around half my body. The moment my brain started working again, one thought hit me like a hammer. Kaiwei. She didn't know I was alive. The battle was over. Yin Nanshan's army had mopped up the Bloodwolf remnants. But the news spreading through the region was that Yin Pass's 3,000 defenders were nearly wiped out. 43 survivors out of 3,000. Anyone hearing those numbers would assume the worst. I forced myself up, grabbed Dragon's Cry, found a horse, and rode home as fast as my broken body would allow. What I didn't know, what I found out later, was everything that happened while I was unconscious. Lu the carpenter and Zhang Lai had come back to the mountain cave where the villagers were hiding and announced the victory. Everyone cheered. Everyone except Kai Wei. What about my husband? Did you see him? The two men went quiet. Lu the carpenter finally said it. The battle was a massacre. 3,000 soldiers, almost all dead. Both 1,000-man commanders killed. Even General Pan Feng was critically wounded. A private couldn't have survived that. Kai Wei collapsed. Auntie Zhang caught her before she hit the ground. No, he's a third-rank warrior. He's not dead. I need to find him. She tried to run toward the city, but fainted the moment the cold air hit her outside the cave. When she woke up in bed, she begged Zhang Lai to check the military camp. He and Lu the carpenter had already gone while she was unconscious. The soldiers told them a bottom-rank private had zero chance of surviving that battle. Stop looking. Sai Wei's face went white as paper. Her eyes went empty. Auntie Zhang shook her, terrified. Then suddenly Kai Wei smiled. Calm. Peaceful. Too peaceful. I'm fine, everyone. Please go home. I want to be alone. She gave them a basket of eggs. Eggs she'd been saving for weeks to celebrate my return. I can't eat all this by myself anymore. Please take them. They left, thinking she was handling it. The moment they were gone, she broke down completely. Cried until there were no tears left. Then she put on a red dress. A wedding dress she'd been secretly making. I'd never seen her in bridal clothes. She wanted to wear red when she went to find me. On the road to the afterlife, she tied a rope to the crooked tree in our courtyard, climbed onto a stool. With her martial arts, she could have snapped that rope like thread, but she didn't want to. She wanted to die. Husband, wait for me. Kai Wei is coming to find you. She kicked the stool away. The rope tightened. Air stopped. Her vision started going dark, filled with memories of our days together. The first time I held her hand, the morning porridge, the saber practice on the mountain, the tickle fights. She had no regrets. A few weeks of happiness was more than she'd ever hoped for. Then a blade of light screamed through the air and the rope snapped clean. She fell into a pair of arms. Wide, strong, familiar arms. Husband, am I on the road to the afterlife? I found you. She looked up with fading eyes, smiling, thinking she was already dead and we'd met in the next world. It was me, alive, bleeding through my bandages, barely standing, but alive. I'd gotten there with maybe 10 seconds to spare. I frowned at the scene in front of me. My wife, in a red dress, rope on a tree, stool kicked over. What road to the afterlife? Silly girl, what are you doing? I'm right here, alive. It took a second for reality to hit her. Then she grabbed me so hard I thought my freshly healed ribs would crack again. Husband, you're alive. I thought you were dead. Do you know how worried I was? She bawled her eyes out. Full body sobbing. Snot and tears and everything. It was messy and loud and honestly the most beautiful sound I'd ever heard. I stroked her hair. I promised I'd come back safe. When has your husband ever broken a promise? Truth was, without the silver organs upgrade, that bone club would have killed me for real. But she didn't need to know that. I'm sorry, husband. I should have trusted you. I tapped her nose. It's okay. But promise me, no matter what happens, no matter what you hear, you never do this again. If I'd been 1 minute later and something happened to you, I'd rather have died on that battlefield. She slapped her hand over my mouth. Don't say unlucky things. Our eyes met. Sparks flew. I lifted her chin and kissed her. After weeks of blood and death and war, the softness of her lips was basically heaven on earth. My hands started wandering. She turned red as her dress. Sweet little sounds escaping her lips. Just as I was about to carry her inside for the full reunion. Husband, you just came back from war. Your body is too weak. I can't let you overexert yourself. Woman, I just fought a 7th-rank warrior. I can handle you. Be good, husband. Let me cook something for you first. Then her face crumbled. Oh no, the neighbors told me you were dead, so I gave away all our eggs. I'd been saving them to celebrate your homecoming. She looked so heartbroken about EGGS that I almost burst out laughing. My wife just tried to hang herself, and now she's mourning poultry products. I genuinely cannot follow this woman's brain sometimes. I pulled out several silver ingots from my sleeve. 10 taels each. They glittered in the light. Sai Wei's eyes went the size of dinner plates. Where did you get this much money? Military reward from the general who guards the north. And wifey, after this battle, I'm not just getting 100-man commander. I might make 1,000-man commander. Her face lit up, then immediately dimmed. What's wrong? Not happy about it. She shook her head. I don't care about ranks. I just want you safe. I don't need 100-man commander or 1,000-man commander or any of it. My heart melted into a puddle. I pulled her close. You're the best wife in the entire world. And that's exactly why I can't let you live in a shack forever. But I promise, I'll always come home. She took 1 silver ingot and headed to the market with Annie Zhang, determined to buy every health supplement in town to nurse me back to strength. At a chicken stall, she haggled a rooster down from 20 copper coins to 18. Good wifey instincts. Then she pulled out the 10-tael silver ingot to pay. The vendor's eyes nearly popped out of his skull. Mississippi, this is a street stall. I can't make change for that. Even Annie Zhang was stunned. Rich people haggling over 2 copper coins. What a sight. Oh, sorry. Kaiwei blushed and fished out 18 coppers from her purse instead. Then, as she was leaving with her chicken, a squad of Northern Army cavalry came thundering through the crowd. Auntie Zhang was right in their path, frozen in terror. Kaiwei moved like lightning, grabbed Annie Zhang, and dove to the side, both of them rolling in the dirt. She stood up furious. What's wrong with you people? Can't you see there are civilians on the road? The lead rider, some 100-man commander named Qin Hu, hopped off his horse, took one look at Siwei's face, and his eyes lit up like a predator spotting prey. Even her heterochromia couldn't dampen his interest. I'm 100-man Commander Qin Hu, under General Yen Nantian. We saved your whole city. Even if I ran someone over, you should still be thanking me. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. Siwei's blood boiled. Our city survived because 3,000 soldiers fought to the death. You just showed up at the end to clean up. And you have the nerve to act superior? Qin Hu couldn't believe a woman was talking back to him. Those 3,000 losers? If they were any good, they wouldn't have needed rescuing. That crossed every line. Siwei's eyes turned to ice. Apologize to the dead soldiers. Right now, or I'm not letting you leave this street. Oh, wifey. My beautiful, terrifying, sword-wielding wifey. This fool has no idea what he just walked into. I was at home resting when all of this was happening. I only found out the details later. And when I did, my blood turned to ice. If it had been some random bully harassing a stranger, Kaiwei might have let it slide. But this piece of trash was insulting the 3,000 soldiers who died defending this city. My brothers. My comrades. And her husband was one of them. Kaiwei wasn't backing down. Qin Hu's grin turned ugly. Woman, you really have a death wish. A commoner talking to a 100-man commander like that? Looks like you need to be disciplined. Tell you what, I'll take you back to our camp for some re-education. His soldiers moved to block her escape. Auntie Zhang tried to intervene, but got shoved to the ground. Shut up, old hag, or my blade won't care who you are. Annie Zhang was smart enough to know she couldn't stop them. She scrambled to her feet and ran toward the village as fast as her legs would carry her. The townspeople were furious. These are our saviors? They're worse than the barbarians. First the wolves leave, now the tigers arrive. Qin Hu had a quick brain for someone so disgusting. He pointed at Siwei's blue eye.